What's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of Talking Figures. As always, I am Tony. I'm very honored to bring today's guest. You guys know him from most of the chat rooms. He's a moderator on the 3POA and its chat podcast. You catch those live on Wednesdays and Sundays when Chad does them, or Saturdays when 3POA does it. Uh, he is a member of the 501st Legion, which their charitable works is second to none worldwide. Uh, and you can catch him at almost at every convention you go to. They're pretty awesome. Uh, he is one of the most positive human beings I've ever met and had the pleasure to text with. He has bumped me out of a couple bad moods just with a simple "Hello, how you doing?" It's my absolute honor to sit here today and talk figures with him. Please welcome to the show the one and only big man, Mython the Python. Welcome to the show, bud.
Hey, what's up, Tony? Thanks for having me.
It's always good to have a good friend to talk to, especially when you want to talk about toys and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And
Definitely.
considering uh, everybody knows you from the chats, but no one's ever really heard or seen you unless they go to the convention, which we're going to get to that a little later. Uh, we're going to let them get to know you today, bud. So we're going to start with every question that I always start with, which is when did you start collecting and what line got you into collecting? So let's paint that picture, big guy.
Well, as far as like collecting, I know you talk about it and being in the sense of, we all grew up with toys as
Yeah,
kids,
yeah,
but collecting probably started when you stopped playing with them
yeah.
and it became more of you collected them, placed them on a shelf, you posed them, you didn't really mess with them anymore. And for me, that I want to say it started with Exo Squad. Because at that time I was, entering high school. So I wasn't really playing with toys
Yeah, yeah.
per se anymore. But the animation cartoon was amazing.
Oh, yeah, it
Um,
was.
I used to have to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning to catch it because being in Hawaii,
Yeah.
we everything was like on California times.
Okay. Okay.
So you'd have to get up really early to catch it. And so
Yeah.
that's like the only cartoon I can think of in my life where I set my alarm.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a
And
really good cartoon, man.
yeah, it's a great cartoon. It
Yeah.
ran almost like a soap opera.
Yeah.
It was kind of like Babylon 5.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like the continuation. It wasn't like standalone
Yeah.
cartoon shows. So, just working, using my money, bought the EXO frames.
Hell yeah.
Just started posing them up on my bookshelf. I had a whole wall of bookshelves in my bedroom, and so I had that posed up there, along with at the time there were these electronic starships. They did Star Trek and Star Wars, so I had like the Star Destroyer. You had like
Okay.
4 or 5 buttons on the top. You could press it, and it would light up the engines,
Oh, wow.
and play noises and stuff.
Okay.
And I think the Star Trek ones were by Playmates.
Okay.
But they kind of had the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had a few of those on the shelf as well. I've always loved sci-fi.
Hell yeah, dude.
So that's probably, yeah, the Exo Squad was where I was all in on like really collecting,
Yeah.
and just leaving them on the shelf. Never played with them. I might have messed around with them here and there and posing them around, but wasn't going outside with them and swooshing them around and getting them dirty and stuff like that. All that was behind me at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I just love the way they look, and I love the characters in the show.
So is that what attracted you to the show? Like when you first saw the episodes of Exo Squad? Because that's a lot of people. That's a I don't say acquired taste, but that's very like niche. Like a lot of people when you
Yeah.
don't really remember Exo Squad. So what was it about that show that really drew you to it?
I don't know. I think it was just the characters, the mecha suits.
Because that's what got me was the mech suits.
It
Yeah.
kind of reminded me of the power lifter or loader or whatever from Aliens.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like way beefed up. And yeah, I don't know. It was a good story that just I kind of got sucked into. It was one of those
Yeah.
things I actually kind of just stumbled upon, and then I just got hooked on it. So, and I had all of my Exo Squad that I had bought from being in my teenagers all the way up till maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I decided to go ahead and just um, sell them to get something else. And I kind of regret that.
Okay.
But, at the time, I was like trying to get into some other things, and it was just seemed like the easiest path was to basically sell those off. And plus, too, I'm working with limited amount of space,
Yeah.
so you gotta kind of pick and choose your battles in your collections.
Did Exo Squad remind you of GI Joe? Because it was three and three quarters.
I think they're a little bit smaller than the 3 3/4, if I
Oh, they
remember
were,
right.
huh?
Yeah, I think they're just a little bit smaller than that.
Well, that would draw me. That would have drawn me crazy.
But no, it didn't really make me think of GI Joe too much. I think I just somehow I just got connected and invested in that storyline.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember
Yeah.
watching it, thinking to myself, like, I don't get some of these storylines because I was young. I didn't
Hmm.
realize it was kind of adult storylines. Really, is what they were dealing with. And you know, like
Yeah.
when I watched it back as an adult, that's when I was like, oh, now I get it. Back then, like
Yeah.
as a kid, I didn't really understand it, but I loved the mech suit aspect. I loved
Hmm.
the. I'm not really big sci-fi in terms of Star Wars and Star
Hmm.
Trek. Like I'm not really big into the spaceship stuff, but like certain aspects will get me. You know, like the Jedi and Sith, that'll get me. You know,
Hmm.
was Klingons? Is that what is Star Trek? That was the race.
You talking about Klingons?
Klingons,
Yeah,
yeah.
Klingons.
So
Yeah.
that like race kind of got me, like, because they were basically like space barbarians. That always
Yeah.
gets me, you know.
I love the Klingons. That's
Yeah,
actually probably out of everything in Star Trek. That's my favorite part. I just love the like their little soundtracks that when they
yeah,
show up on the scene and the
yeah.
birds of prey and stuff, and
Hell yeah,
the,
dude.
the cloaking ability. And yeah, that's the other thing too, is like, so I like sci-fi and stuff, but I also like fantasy. I love barbarians and
Hell yeah, dude.
gladiators and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I know we've talked about this before, but like in my top five movies of all time is the original Conan the Barbarian
Barbarian.
with,
That is
with
such
Arnie.
hell yeah, such a great movie, man.
That I've watched that movie I don't even know how many times.
I lost count, dude. You just
It's
when it's a classic, you can watch it 1,000 times over, and it's like watching it for the
Yeah,
first time again every
it's
time.
like one of those things, like it would pop up on TV and I would stop what I'm doing and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
watch that movie. It's like, forget the rest of the stuff. I'm gonna watch this
Yeah,
movie. Of course, now I've got it on DVD and stuff, so I can pop
yeah,
it in whenever I want. But so, and I've just always loved that same thing: the swords and sorcery
sorcery.
and the
Yeah,
barbarians and dragons and unicorns and
yeah.
the big burly warriors and whatnot. I always loved that kind of stuff. And like when I was a kid, so I don't think I've really told you this story before, but my mom didn't let me have He-Man toys.
Wow.
At the time, that was that era of the early '80s when they thought D&D was making kids commit suicide,
Yeah, yeah. They were
and
very
there was all
against
this
it.
stuff
Yeah,
going around. And my
yeah.
mom was a pretty damn liberal woman, but for whatever reason, she had it in her head that He-Man was connected to that,
Oh
so she didn't
wow.
allow me to have any He-Man. Now, my grandmother, her mother, very she had her positive qualities, but she was a very spiteful woman. And so what she would do is she bought me everything He-Man. She kept it at her house. So anytime I'd come and visit with her and stuff, I could play my He-Man. So
Hell
all my
yeah.
He-Man, Castle Grayskull, the was it that bone was it Bone Rattler, the where you clip in all your figures into the sides.
I think so. Yeah,
Um, the Battle Cat, all the figures. She bought it all for me.
yeah. That's
So like I
awesome.
had I had all my He-Man stuff. And so every once in a while, I might like pocket one of the He-Man figures and bring it home,
Yeah.
and I would like sneak it in the house, and it'd be like my dirty little secret to have He-Man in the house. Now later on, by the time the live action He-Man movie came out, my mom got past that thought.
Okay.
So like she actually took me to see the live action movie and stuff, and that's another one of those movies where it's just like I know people who clown on it and everything, but it's
Yeah.
like I don't know, it's sentimental for me. Um, and I just remember my mom when she watched it, she was just she herself loved fantasy and stuff, which is what was so weird about how she somehow got it in her head about He-Man. But um, I just
Probably was the
remember her.
packaging.
I just remember her going on and on and on about Meg
Yeah.
Foster's eyes. She's like, she's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. And so my mom had this thing for like Evelyn. So it's kind of funny to me. That's a funny little story. But
Yeah.
so He-Man has kind of an interesting, and I think that's why like when the origin figures started coming out and they started pumping out the Masterverse, and then
Oh yeah.
when the anime show came on and everything, watching that, and I was like deciding, I was like, man, I think I need to put some He-Man in my collection, because that's like one of those weird little parts of my
Yeah.
childhood, between my mom and my grandmother and stuff. And and I was thinking about picking up, the original style, the origin style, but then I saw the Masterverse and watched the show, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do the Masterverse
Verse, yeah, hell yeah.
because it still pays like homage
How much?
to
Yeah.
my childhood, but yet they're updated, more articulated,
Mm-hmm.
way better detailed,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's all the same characters and stuff. So,
That's why I got into because I wanted I remember it was GI Joe Classified that I kind of spurned off from Marvel Legends into Classified, and then I was like,
hmm
man, I really wish like I had just heard the whispers of the Kevin Smith cartoon and shit like that. So I
hmm
was like, man, I hope that like a toy line comes with this because I would like to see like better articulated, better detailed He-Man figures. I remember the He-Man figures from the '80s and stuff like that,
yeah,
and I had seen a couple of Origin figures, but I think it was Super 7 ones. And I was
mm
just like, I don't really want to spend $55 on an action figure.
yeah,
I really didn't care to do that. So
hmm
then all of a sudden I seen like I guess the line of toys that was going to come, and I originally thought that line of toys was only going to be for the Kevin Smith cartoon. I
hmm
didn't think they were going to do New Eternia and
hmm
all these other ones.
right, yeah,
And
same here,
so I just was like, all right, well, I'll just buy them because it's probably just going to be for this movie line. Just so I, like you said, pay homage to He Man, even though it looks more updated, like the Kevin Smith He Man, not
hmm
our He Man, but whatever, no big deal. And then soon after that, I saw New Attorney. I started seeing all these He Mans come out, and I was like, oh, thank God I went down this rabbit hole early because I had already started, so
yep,
I didn't have to play catch up because I knew
right,
if I wouldn't have jumped off that then, I was
yeah,
gonna wind up having to play catch up. So
yep,
I'm very happy, dude. I'll sit here and put Masterverse that line over every single day of the week. People for some reason it's not that they disrespect it, they
hmm
glance over it like it doesn't
right,
exist.
right,
That's how that to me you are disrespecting because you'll talk about this line, that line, this secondary, all these, but everybody will always just kindly glance over the Masterverse line and like it
right,
doesn't exist. And it's like you guys, and with all due respect, love Mythic Legions, but like the Masterverse articulates better and the detail is there. I
right,
don't see what the problem is. So it's like to
right,
me, instead of glossing over, I think a Mythic Legions needs to like kind of check these molds out and like these
hmm
the articulation on the Masterverse figures and apply some of it to theirs. And I think then they'll be in business again. Big
yeah.
time. I know they do a good business. Don't, I'm not saying tell you Mythic Legions doesn't do good business, but
I think Mythic Legions, they're beautiful for what they are, but to me, it's kind of like a step backwards, or maybe it's just they haven't kept up with like the articulation of
yeah,
today.
dude,
It it kind of
I
reminds me of the old McFarlane. I used to collect the old
yeah,
Spawn stuff, back in like the early 2000s.
yeah, yeah,
When I got heavy into that, and a lot of those early McFarlane and Spawn figures, and then all the like twisted fairy tales. I don't know if you
hmm
remember those.
yeah, yeah. I remember.
Like, and then they had the Hellraiser.
Hmm.
And it's like the details were amazing, but the articulation just was like
Yeah,
one little, and it stayed stiff, and you could move the arm up by the shoulder,
yeah.
or what I mean. It wasn't like they didn't have a whole lot of, but they were beautiful pieces on the shelf, and so I
Back then,
feel
to me,
like,
I thought like whenever I saw those, like I would always see them in GameStops or
hmm
eBay, EB Games. If
hmm
anybody remembers those, uh, but I like you knew what you were getting with McFarlane. To me, at least
right,
back then, you're like, oh, this is
yeah,
pretty much a statue. Yeah,
right,
it'll
right,
articulate at the arm, but
yeah,
it's for what it is. You know what it is. So the
right,
detail is amazing.
hmm
But to me, when you pick up a Mythic Legions figure, it's an action figure.
right,
It's not a statue. If it was a statue, I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't say a word about the lack of articulation. And
yeah,
and apparently they always talk about like how easy it is to customize. I've never customized a Mythic Legions figure because
me
to
either,
me, why would you, they're $55 and up.
yeah,
I can't rip apart anything like a Marvel Legends, a GI Joe Classified. Yeah, sure, I'll kit bash
hmm
that. They're $25. You fuck up,
yeah,
you buy a new one.
yeah,
But if you fuck up a Mythic Legions orc, that's $80.
yeah,
Now you're $80 in the hole. I
right.
could not imagine when they said, well, they're easy customizable. Yeah, but okay, if they're cheap, then yeah, they'd be easy customizable. You're not making it
Well,
really affordable to be customizable to me, in my opinion.
there's all kinds of collectors out there, and
Yeah.
there's collectors that are more budget minded. I would call myself more budget minded. I'm very picky about what I get.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Like I have Mythic Legions, but I only get certain ones.
Ones. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a completionist.
Okay.
So like Masterverse though, I'm almost a completionist. There's a few that I don't have. I'm looking over at my shelf right now.
Yeah.
but sometimes it's because they're like a duplicate character.
Okay.
But some of the duplicate I did get, like I have Skeletor, of course, but I also got
Hmm.
Skelegod because
Yeah.
Skelegod was freaking amazing to me.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
Um, so stuff like that I'll do, but if they're
Yeah.
too much the same, like the Thunder Punch He-Man that came out, I didn't get that because it's like
Yeah.
I have the regular. I've got the one that came with Orko, where he's like more of a barbarian,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
super, not well, more of a, I mean, just even more of a barbarian,
Yeah.
like savage, you know.
Yeah.
And then I've got the armored one. So it's
Okay.
like, yeah, those are different enough, I guess, in my mind. But the Thunder Punch, I'm like, now we're getting it's too many He-Mans. Like,
The Thunder Punch He-Man, like I obviously like a psycho got it. It's
yeah,
literally just to me the 40th anniversary He-Man with
mm-hmm,
the barbarian He-Man head
mm-hmm,
with a tan. His
yeah.
body is more tan.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks cool, but like when I'm thinking about for my own collection and space and money, I'm like, I'd rather, would I want to get that one, or would I rather get, a merman or something like that?
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of where I'm at on the Masterverse. I would say I'm like 90% Masterverse figures. The 10% I don't pick up.
Yeah.
Um, Marvel Legends, I have a few of those as well. But I stick mostly to like X-Men related stuff.
Okay. Okay. So you just kind
Um,
of stick it to the one team, and that's it. You know, you're not going to spin
for
out of
the
control.
most part, there's a few things I get. Like I got a Captain America because my
Okay.
dad loved Captain America, and every time
Okay.
I look at it, I remember my dad.
Yeah.
So there's things like that, and then of course classified. I went heavy in classified at first because it hit like that nostalgia for me of the original GI Joe. But lately, I've been kind of scaling back on that, not going
Okay.
as heavy into it, and
Yeah.
not so much in the troop building anymore. Just again, space and money, and I know you talked about Super Seven and Super Seven. The only thing that I have from Super Seven is the Thundercats. And it's
Okay.
because when I thought about it, thought about the time, I was like, do I get the vintage stuff, which is what I started to think about doing. And then I was like, no, I'll just pick up the Super 7. And I know a lot of people have problems with the Super
Yeah.
7 stuff. And I get it. But, it fills the hole. And when I look at it, it's for me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I don't care what people say about it. For me, it fills that void. I just have the characters. I don't want the vehicle or the castle or any of
Okay.
that stuff. I
Yeah.
just love that cartoon.
I'm a big
Um,
fan of Thundercats, man. And when
yeah.
I got the Lionel, um, I was so disappointed because I wanted to jump off that line and start
Mm-hmm.
getting all of them. Because like my second favorite is Panthro. Like he was going to be
Mm-hmm.
the next one I got if Lionel was good. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I listen. I don't have a very high standard for action figures because like I collect all kinds of fucking
Right.
lines. But to me, it's just have the articulation there and make it a little bit more durable. That's all I
Mm-hmm.
ask for. You know, like I don't really need much. And the articulation on Super 7, while it's just about the same as Mythic Legions, if we're gonna,
Mm-hmm.
really get real close and look at it, but I just don't like the fragileness of them. Like if they
Mm-hmm.
fall, they break easy. I've
Mm-hmm.
heard people like breaking hands, just taking them out and shit like
It's
that. So
kind of
to me,
like NECA. NECA's like that. I
NECA's
haven't
like that
broken.
too, big time. Yeah,
I've broken more NECA figures than anything else.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, like literally get it out of the box, it breaks just removing
yeah.
it from the packaging. It's like, what the hell?
That happened to me with
Um,
a Superman figure, and I was real mad.
yeah, so I'm really light on the NECA figures. It's got to be something really
Yeah.
for me to go. Like, I've got some Predators. I've got like, of course, like Alf,
Okay.
Gizmo, and
Yeah.
ET.
Yeah.
Um, just stuff from my childhood and stuff is just like, yeah, I want them on the shelf.
Yeah.
But
So when you collect figures, it's more just like something that's gonna touch you. Like you're not like look, you're not like
for the
you,
most part,
yeah, yeah, you're not doing
yeah,
it to like hit a dopamine here. Like I need to get all these figures quick. I need to hit that pre-order. It's just more of those things where if it
no,
catches your eye, gives you like a feeling of nostalgia.
yeah, it's for me. I'll be one of those guys. I'm nostalgia driven.
There's nothing wrong with that, brother.
I like customizing my stuff too. So
Okay.
like,
Okay.
I'll grab figures and do head swaps and some body
Nice.
swaps and stuff like that. Like I made a scientist Destro and a scientist Baroness.
That's awesome.
Like they're in the lab doing something. So
Yeah.
I used, I think, like an egghead body for the Destro,
Okay.
and I used I think it was like Moira McTaggart
Dagger.
from X
Yeah.
Men for the little, where she's wearing the lab coat.
Mhm.
use that for the Baroness and
It's brilliant.
stuff like that, but and I do other little customizations here and there, and I've even done vehicles like I don't know if it'll show up on camera or not, but I made this for my 1/18 scale Cobra. It's a custom
Oh, that's nice, dude.
um used a like a Chapman Chinook,
Yeah,
and I painted it and I drilled holes and added the missiles from the Mamba.
yeah. Hell
And
yeah, dude.
I did this using those film cell gels or whatever they call
Oh,
it,
oh
the
wow,
red
really,
glass, and again the red glass on the side windows as well.
dude. That's brilliant.
Um, and I call this the Super Mamba.
Nice.
So to me, it's still got the twin rotors like the
Yeah,
Mamba, but it's more of the Chinook style, and I use this as like my Cobra transport vehicle.
dude, that's sick, man.
So
I
I like
apologize.
customizing. I like customizing stuff. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
artistic.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm gonna just apologize ahead of time. The people here working on my boiler,
Right.
so you hear
That's
the
cool.
drilling in the back. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's not everybody to know. Dude, customizing is so much fun, so therapeutic, dude. Do you ever look to customize things, or does something just hit you? Like I notice sometimes, like for instance, when I'm building something, sometimes I don't even intend to build anything. It's just I see a vehicle or I'll see something somewhere, and I'll be like, "Oh, that
Yeah.
would be cool to do this with it."
Um, for the most part, it's like I'll have an idea if I want something, and like I've got like transports, like I've got the tomahawk sitting over here for GI Joe because I
Oh
I
yeah,
like the old GI Joe. I like O
yeah.
ring figures. I like the 3 3/4 figures
Okay.
as well. So my
Are
clutch is
you
like half and half.
are you gonna get on those Super Seven new, like the new reaction figures? Like they look like the original GI Joes.
I want to see them first.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but I've got most of the original O-ring GI Joes that I
Oh,
want. I
nice.
have. I've got probably a couple hundred
Wow.
O-ring figures. Um, I don't want every character. Again, I'm not a completionist by
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
means, so like I could care less to have every single one of something.
Mhm.
Um, but it's kind of like, is there something that I want to do? And I thought about like the Cobra. I have like the Fangs and all this other smaller aircraft for Cobra, but I don't have like a troop transport for Cobra. So
Okay.
let's say if I wanted to like make up a little story where, and what's great about this Super Mamba that I made is the back opens up. It's got the ramp, and I can actually park the original Stinger
Oh
inside it,
wow.
and I can have
Hell
it like
yeah.
it's driving down the ramp in the back. And I've
Hell
got
yeah.
some photos on my Instagram of that whole scene. I think like a photo series, like
All
a
right.
little mini story using that custom helicopter. Um, So it's like I just did it because I needed a troop transport, and I thought that would be a very affordable way to do it. Just take
Yeah.
some spray paint and some X-Acto
Yeah.
knives, and get some stickers on it, and
Hell yeah, dude.
it's all set up to look
Dude,
like
you literally, if I didn't know any better, I would have thought that was purchased. That's like sometimes the custom comes out perfect. Sometimes it's what a world we live in now, because there's so many ways to get secondary toys that will
hmm
still kind of fit in or match a scale or a line that you want it to match to. And when you
yeah,
get something as perfect as that, like a helicopter and things like that, you can just repurpose it, repaint it. Like, dude, I'm sure you heard yesterday on the stream. I'm trying to build a 112 scale tactical battle platform.
yes,
So I'm looking at all kinds of pictures today to try to just kind of get an idea of what it is I want to do, like because how much stuff like supplies I'm gonna need
hmm
and whatnot. And I'm just like, there is stuff I'm finding in the garage that was from Hot Wheels toys and from like WWE that is like gonna fit onto this battle platform perfectly for in a sense where it could potentially, if it comes out how it is in my head, would look like, I either had this custom made or it was like I purchased it like this. Like that's, I mean, the crane, like
hmm
that's on the corner. I have that from WWE. That's going to match perfectly. I noticed that the helipad sticks out from it on
right,
just two like what looks like metal beams, I guess, would be
right,
holding it.
hmm
And I have a bunch of that from the Hot Wheels tracks. And I think I get a giant ramp that's going to come down. I got all that stuff already. And
nice,
that's how it happened, because I was just looking at this giant piece of styrofoam and I'm looking at
right,
my table and I got all this scrap shit,
hmm
and I was just starting to think like, what could I make? Like what the first off, there's something. And here's the thing I want to ask you: when you customize toys,
hmm
like all right, Do you customize them with the intent, like you like? And I assume this is what it is because you said you needed a troop transport. So you're thinking like if you're a photographer, if you're gonna play with them, whatever it is, like I need a practical toy that's gonna fit here. So like I wanted something that's gonna float on water. So to me, the tactical battle platform was the smartest one to build because I want to go on water with it instead of building a boat or the flag, which is everybody talks about. I'm not building a 9 foot. Where the fuck am I going to put that thing? You know.
Well, with
So
if you did a 1/12 scale flag, it'd be so the flag is 7.5 feet long for the O rings. So
you have
you're
to
looking
double
at,
that, right?
yeah, double. They're probably like 15, 16
60
feet
feet.
long
Yeah. How you can you
to
put
make
that
it
thing?
like for a flag made for classified. But if you were really gonna do a 1/12 scale aircraft carrier, like true 1/12, I mean that thing would probably be 30 feet long,
30
man.
feet
It
long.
probably. I'm just saying because the flag isn't really to true scale
Scale.
aircraft
Yeah.
carrier to 3 3/4. I mean, it's kind of like they shrunk it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's huge, but it's not to scale to three and
Yeah.
three quarter.
Well, if it was to scale to 3 3/4, like legitimately, would it probably like 10 feet long? No, maybe
Oh gosh,
maybe 14 feet,
oh,
15 feet.
yeah, at least double what it
Yeah.
is. I mean, maybe even more because when you look at it, because it's based off the Nimitz class aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
I mean, they're parking the aircraft like there's probably like what 20 jets side by
Yeah.
side with the
Yeah.
wings folded up. So like think about that. 20 20 sky strikers side by side
Side.
on the deck of an aircraft carrier, right? So I mean, yeah, it'd have
That's
to be
got to be.
huge.
So
Yeah.
15 feet, man. But
But I
like
mean,
to
if you
me,
wanted to make the flag the way they made it for the O-ring figures for classified, so you just basically double it up,
double the
basically.
size, yeah, so it'd be
I'm
15 to
thinking like
16 feet.
15, yeah, probably 15 feet long,
Yeah.
probably, or maybe a little bit more. Um, and that again, it's like space wise. You'd either have to have like a mansion or
Three-car garage,
yeah,
something
something
like that.
something to have that kind of
Oh yeah.
space.
Oh yeah.
I think it's cool that people have those kinds of collections. They have the big spaces and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I'm always impressed to see like the ambition of people that are don't give a fuck about the scale. They're like, I don't care.
Yeah,
It's 112. I'll make it.
right,
And they make it
right,
anyway. And they
right.
don't. They're like, it's like a future person's problem. Like I'll worry about the space later. Like I want
Yeah.
to make this thing. Like so sometimes like I'm blown away. Like I was talking to Aaron, the toy enhancer, and he's talking about building a 112 scale mothership, and he was telling me it was going to be at least 6 feet wide, at least.
Yeah. I think
And I
the
was
guy
just,
did that at Joe Fest this year.
he said that. Yeah, he said it was made out of
Yeah.
cardboard though.
Yeah. Yeah. It looked amazing though.
Yeah. So yeah, he said
Yeah.
he got a close look at it and he kind of saw what that guy did, and
Yeah.
he said it's kind of close to what he wants to do, but he wants to go balls to the wall and use resin and 3D printed pieces and make it playable. Is what he
Mm-hmm.
is the really the word he kept using that stood out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like kind of what I want to do with the tactical battle platform. I want to put it on water.
Yeah.
I want to test it. You
Yeah.
know, make it playable, like he said. Like um, I want to take it out to a park. We live very close to a park, so I want with a lake. I want to put
Mm-hmm.
it on a lake, right on the ridge, and kind of
Yeah.
shoot. Like I'm gonna do more than photography with it, obviously. But whenever I make something, it's always with the photography intent. So I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
at it from a still, But um, even like buildings nowadays, when I see like again, I like extreme sets very much, but they're pricey.
Mm-hmm.
And if you apply a little effort, you can kind of make your own out of cardboard and
Yeah.
make it, I think, truer to scale. Because as
Mm-hmm.
good as they are, they're not true to scale. Because when
Mm-hmm.
I try to put action figures through doorways,
Mm-hmm.
they don't fit. They're
Mm-hmm.
too fucking big. So I
Right.
would like when you make it, at least you can make it to scale because you can measure the figure how you want and
Mm-hmm.
everything like that. At least that's my opinion. But I don't know. I'm getting to a point now, dude, where I prefer to customize now. Like I'm loving what's coming out in terms of vehicles, but play sets, I would rather just do it myself. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to buy anything because I know it's going to be way too expensive. And I
Yeah.
think
You're.
that's where you guys, like the 118 guys, kind of like it's so much easier because they have the play
Yeah.
sets. Everything not only could fit. I know it could get annoying if you collect too much in terms of space, but it's a little cheaper. I mean, still pricey, but it's a little cheaper than a 112 scale thing, But
Mm-hmm.
and there's more of it. There's like more play sets. There's more options for the 118. I noticed.
I don't know if you can see it behind me, but there's the Cobra Missile
Yeah, I see
Command
it. Yeah, yeah.
headquarters. That, let's see if I turn it or
Yeah, I
this
see it right
way.
there. The racking and
But that
everything.
that was inspired by Chad from It's Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he took a little $20 like cheapo toy from Walmart that was made for like a space launch. It was all neon
Yeah.
colors, and he turned it into the basically realized non cardboard version of the Cobra Missile Command headquarters. And
Yeah, no.
I saw him do that, and I was like, man, I want that. So I pretty much followed the same recipe. I changed a few things, and made it my own. And there's some stuff that he probably had access to that I
Yeah.
did. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, and it gives you the actual physical plastic playset. So that was a lot of fun to do too. I don't do a lot of customs, but oh, and I did a custom truck build at DFW.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
saw that.
yeah, Kirk Bazoigan and
Mm.
Greg Bernstein, they were the main two that helped me put that together,
Hell yeah,
and
dude.
that was a lot of fun. I was sitting there with Gonzo. Gonzo was
Uh,
on the same
shout
table with
out.
me. He was hanging out and stuff, so it was cool. Doing that. That was like
Uh,
all a workshop. They gave you
hell
the
yeah.
tools and they let you keep the tools afterwards. So I got the tools. I was like, great, I could take this home
Hell, you can
and,
use them. Hell
yeah,
yeah.
use it for future stuff. So that was a really cool little workshop. And it was
Hell yeah,
only
dude.
like 30 people in there. So it was pretty intimate with all the different designers from, Hasbro there
Yeah.
from the original 82 to 94 run for Real American Hero.
How much time? How much
So
time did they give you to like
it
mess
was
around with stuff?
like, I want to say it started at like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and it ran until like 11:30.
Okay, so they gave you a nice little time.
Nice little evening chunk. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was fun. And yeah, they were all about like showing you the tips and tricks and
Oh,
all the
right on.
different tools they use. And they had a whole lot of like styrene and
Hell yeah.
wood pieces, and it had everything there. It was nice. Yeah, that was a once in a lifetime experience.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, shout out to Jay Gonzo first off, and that
Oh yeah.
leads me right into my next point, and that's DFW convention. You've been to now Joe Fest. You've been to you've been to quite a few working with the 501st Legion.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have this weird, sneaky suspicion. Maybe you can confirm it or deny it because you might know more because you go to more conventions than I do. But I don't know what it is, but I have this sneaky suspicion that toy shows are gonna start growing, not to a huge level like San Diego and New York Comic Con level, but I just have this weird feeling the way Joe Fest and DFW went for everybody
Mm-hmm.
that toy shows might be another like the next popular thing for nerds to go to.
I think toy shows have been around for a while.
Yeah, but they never
I've
been
been
popular.
I've been heavy into, well, I guess it depends on the crowd.
Yeah.
Because I'm heavy into Lego,
Okay.
and there's always been Lego conventions. I've
Okay.
done more Lego conventions than any other type of convention.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's because the Gen X age group and maybe like the early millennials, like the ones that
Yeah.
born after 81,
Yeah.
they are now, between what, uh, late 30s
He's
to
in
their 50s.
50s. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like they've got disposable income.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us are just kind of nostalgic.
Hell yeah.
And it's like just something to do. We've gotten, a lot of us we're getting older. We're getting, our body hurts. We're not out there doing a lot of the crazy physical stuff anymore. I mean, there are some that stay in great shape and,
Hey,
still go mountain biking and hiking and stuff. But a lot of us are just,
it's
we're
winding
worn
down.
down, man.
Yeah.
We just want to stay home.
Yeah.
And I think now with the way the figures are, and with cameras and even using your phone,
Yeah.
you can take some really cool photos, and you're just
Oh
kind
yeah.
of reliving that, you know, nostalgia. And I think that's really what most of it is. It now is just nostalgia for most people.
Yeah.
There's all types of collectors though, and I respect it all. There's people
Not me
who
too.
collect, keep
Yeah,
it
me
in
too.
packaging. They
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
I don't believe it's gonna like put them through retirement, but a lot of them, they think if they keep it sealed, they can sell it. I just think the generation after the millennials or the late millennials going into what is it, was it Gen Z?
Gen Z or whatever. Yeah, yeah,
And now like the young ones are Generation Alpha.
yeah,
Um, they don't have the same kind of connection to toys like we do. So
yeah.
when it gets timed, when you're like 60, 70 years old and you
Mm-hmm.
want to sell your stuff,
And ain't gonna be a market for it.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know if
think
it's
so.
going to be a market for
No,
it.
yeah, I don't think
Right?
so.
You know, the
And the
younger,
crazy thing is too, like I see these young kids, man. They don't even really get attached to cartoons. So they don't get attached to characters and things like that.
no, everything's about video games and their
Yeah,
tablets and
yeah.
social media.
Mm-hmm. And they're
A lot
already
of kids,
watching reality television because they're
yeah,
watching YouTube and shit like that. And that's obviously
yeah.
all reality based. So it's
And kids are different now
oh
because
yeah,
I have a friend who's a teacher
yeah,
in elementary,
yeah,
and man, some of the stuff she tells me, those kids are like they're demonic, man.
yeah,
Some of them
yeah.
kids are demonic. Like, yeah,
My
I'll just leave
sister-in-law,
it at
my
that.
sister-in-law is a teacher, and I've heard horror
Woo.
stories. And like I said,
Yeah.
my wife works at a preschool,
Mm,
and she's saying she's
yeah.
seeing it there. She's already seeing it at that age. So
It's just yeah. I don't know. The little kids now. I don't think the parents really discipline them the way we were
mhm.
disciplined,
Hell
and
no.
so they don't learn the same kind of respect.
Yeah.
And they're so in tune. Their parents have gotten to where not all parents, but I think there are a lot
Yeah.
of parents just they let the tablets babysit the kids,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and they're not really actively involved with their kids.
Mhm.
And so their kids get this. It does something. I'm sure it does something to the brain and the
I thought
development and the
I think so.
social. You, we were so much more social as kids. I remember
Yeah.
jumping on my BMX bike, riding through the neighborhood, looking for the yard that had all the other BMX bikes thrown in the front
Yeah.
yard because that's where everybody was.
That's where everyone's hanging
And
out.
you
Yeah.
just run up to the door, knock, and then you come inside, and we would be there for like 15 minutes, and then all jump on our bikes and ride to the next house, or go to the
Yeah.
park, or go to the beach. Um,
Yeah.
it's like you don't. Nowadays we don't even have trick or treaters knock on the door. I don't even
No.
buy
Yeah.
candy anymore because it's been years since we've had a trick or treater even show up at our door. I don't see kids riding bicycles in the neighborhood. Um,
I don't see
I
any
think
of that stuff neither, though, dude. Like
yeah, it's
it's
like
that's a I guess a worldwide thing now because of the internet and
society
everything like that.
has
Yeah.
society's changed. So,
No, yeah. But
and I
that's
don't
why I
think
love
they're
toys now. It's why we collect
yeah,
toys because it
yeah,
reminds us of when we were kids.
yeah.
That saying, I used to hear my father say that the youth is lost on the young, right?
Hmm.
And then when you're a kid, you're like, shut up, you don't know. But now I'm getting older. I know what that fucking means. Because, like,
Yeah,
you guys are so youthful. You don't leave your house. You don't do fucking nothing. And here I would kill to ride a bike. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah,
would kill to go hiking for 5 hours or whatever the case is. But my
yeah,
back and knees won't allow it no more because I'm too fucking old.
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember loading up a backpack full of GI Joes or Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles and just taking them to the park, and my friends would do the same thing. We'd build like these huge battles and make
Hell
forts out
yeah.
of sticks and stuff,
Hell
and
yeah.
bringing my toys home and washing the mud and dirt off of them and everything. It's like,
Back then,
um,
you were making dioramas. You didn't even know it because there
yeah,
was
you
no
weren't
name
because
for it.
you're just having fun in the moment.
Yeah.
Having
You
your
just,
little battle scenes and stuff, and then
yeah.
like trading. Did a
Yeah.
lot of trading, like oh, my friend Frank has this figure and I want it, and
Yeah.
I have a figure he wants, and he end up trading, and
Train them up. Hell yeah, dude.
like stuff like that. A lot of social. See that those are all social like
Yeah. Their
activities,
skills. Their skills.
skills, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
learn to trade and barter and decide
Exactly.
what value of something is, and then and reach an agreement with a
Yeah.
fellow kid. So it's like, yeah, I think a lot of kids are cheated out of that kind of stuff nowadays just
Big
because of the way
time.
society is.
Big time because it's just like
Yeah,
I said, everything is done for them. The
I
iPad
think.
basically produces everything for you. You don't have to really try
Yeah,
anymore. Like use your imagination to try because you, like I said, it's a calculator on there. Everything's right there. You don't have to do
yeah,
anything no more.
yeah,
Like back in, I hate to say like this because I never thought in millions, but back in our day,
yeah, yeah.
we're, we're like the last of a
Back,
dying breed. Like
back in
literally.
our day, you young whippersnapper, we used to play outside with our little GI
Exactly.
Joes.
Go down to the creek. And play with the GI Joes. You don't know what it's about. I mean,
uh,
listen. I see sometimes like parents and their kids kind of sharing in the hobby, in the toy collecting
mhm,
hobby, and when I see
yeah,
that, I'm like, thank God there's at
yeah,
least some of them out there trying to instill
yeah,
the old imagination in
yeah,
in children because At least from my listen, I love my nephews very much, but all of them, all they want is that goddamn iPad.
Yeah,
That's all they want, you know.
yeah.
But whatever. I mean, listen. Uh, what is? I always ask this question of my people too. What figure do you got in your collection that if there was a fire, if there was anything going on, you would that'd be the first thing you grabbed? Grail
Man, I think
piece.
we've talked about this before, but
Yeah.
like first off, the fire in my house. First and foremost, my fur babies and my wife. I'm gonna make sure they're out the house. But
yeah.
yeah. As far as toys, oh man, that is such a hard. If they're out safe and it's still safe to run in the house and try to grab something. Oh man, there's a couple different things that are probably connected to me that would pop in my mind. One of them would probably be the last Christmas present that I got from my mother before she passed away from breast
Okay.
cancer.
All right.
Um, that was a Black Series helmet.
All
Um,
right on, dude.
my mom was big Star Wars. She's the one
Yeah.
that got me into Star Wars.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've told you before, but her name is Laveda. And so her and her cousin Patty, they went to go watch, the original movies in the theaters and stuff. And um, she got me hooked on it, like when I was a little kid, and played the Return of the Jedi for me on a Betamax.
All right.
And then my mom saw how much I enjoyed it, so she was buying me all the Star Wars toys and all that. That was before the GI Joe stuff, and yeah. So anyway, they called her Darth Vader, for
Darth
Love
Vader.
Vader, and
Yeah.
so yeah, she's always had a thing for Darth Vader, and
Hell yeah. That's
yeah,
awesome,
when
dude.
the sequel movies came out, I remember I paid for it was like a red carpet event at the
Okay.
theater, and it was like everything was in IMAX, and there was going to be all these like special things going on, and like little collectibles, and they had like a Star Wars costume contest, and if I remember right, they even did like a John Williams concert thing before the movie started.
Oh wow.
And so it was really expensive, but I
Yeah.
paid for it to take my mom to that, and so that's when we were introduced to Ray and Kylo Ren and all that kind of stuff,
Oh
and
wow. Okay.
yeah, and so but yeah, she got me the Black Series Kylo Ren helmet.
Nice.
And people say what they want about this sequel. Star Wars to me is Star Wars. It's kind of like the Savage Land
Yeah.
when he
Yeah.
says GI Joe is GI
Yeah,
Joe.
Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, Star Wars is Star Wars.
Star
So people
Wars.
can
Yeah.
say whatever they want. I'm gonna watch it now. Is some of the Star Wars better than other Star Wars? Yes,
Yeah. Did you have you watched the Acolyte then?
yes, I have.
Well, what is
And
your assessment of it?
I rank it in the bottom. It's in the bottom tiers of Star
Okay.
Wars.
Okay.
There are things that I like about it, and there's things that I don't like about it. But it's like right down there with the Last Jedi movie. Now it's Star Wars, so there's stuff in it that I enjoy. I'm gonna
Mhm.
watch it. I'm gonna try to understand it. There's some things that conflict with my knowledge of Star Wars that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
irritate me. But I think I've gotten to a point in my life now where, and I think this really started with the Transformer live action movies for me, where I quit trying to compare my childhood understanding
Yeah.
and the canon that was built up in my head from reading and watching stuff, and just enjoyed it for what it was.
That's hard to do with people nowadays. It seems.
It is hard for people to do, but it was hard
Yeah.
for me. But
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with stuff now. I know for years we didn't have, it was like a desert for sci-fi anything.
Facts.
And so now we're kind of getting the cornucopia of, the feast, so to speak, of all this stuff. And so some of it's good, some of it's not so good.
Yeah.
But for me, Star Wars is Star Wars. So I watch it all. I enjoy aspects of it
Yeah.
all. Um, some of it I'm like, well, I watched it and I'm probably never gonna watch it again.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm not gonna sit there and like really hate on it or get into the whole debate about who's directing it and all that kind of stuff. I
That's
just think
too. When
that,
you start getting into the nuts and bolts behind
yeah,
the inside baseball stuff of it, it's like that's when I'm like, listen, it's a simple TV program or movie. You
yeah,
can just turn it off, man. You ain't gotta watch it. You ain't gotta pay to go see it. It's literally subjective. It's
yeah.
up to you.
You, there's only so much time in a day, and I'm just not gonna like waste my time
Yeah. Yeah.
like picking apart stuff. I just
Exactly.
move on to the next thing. Um, and I think what put that into hyperdrive for me even more was after the summer of 2020. I ended up in the ICU.
Yeah.
I actually flatlined and died. They resuscitated me. And I feel like that changed a lot when I
Yeah.
got out of the hospital and got home. It took 9 months to recover um, fully. And I remember going into my room at the time, which was all mostly like 90% Star Wars stuff, and just looking around at it, and I'm like, do I need 10 versions of the X-wing? Do I need five different versions of a Star Destroyer? Do I need, you know? And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
started taking everything that was not necessarily duplicates, but they were in the sense of what they were, but they were
Yeah.
different, from different things. And I just downsized. I must have downsized like half my collection right there. I took it all in. I did a trade in and sold it. Um, and I was telling my wife what I was doing, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, but it's your collection. You can do what you want with it." But I looked around at everything, and I was like, "I can't take any of this stuff with me.
Mm.
I could be dead right now, and this stuff does nothing for anybody." And I was already involved in the 501st and doing like charity stuff with my Lego group. It's called Bantha Bricks. Also on Instagram, and it was originally started on Facebook back in
Awesome.
2016. And we've got like over 20,000 followers on Instagram, and
Hell
like
yeah, dude.
I think like 35,000 members on Facebook. And I've kind of scaled back from the Facebook stuff, but um, yeah, I just took all that stuff up and traded it in, and I used the money and the store credits to buy like sealed toys. And I took it all up to the Cancer Center for Children in Atlanta Healthcare for Children, and just donated it for the kids. And then got with the 501st, and we went up there in the costumes and visited the kids and everything. And I just thought that felt so good. I don't know, something snapped in my brain when that happened to me that summer. And I got out of the hospital. I became more conscious of trying to appreciate people and
Yeah.
realizing
Yeah.
how like, I don't know if the right word is fickle, but how fickle life is. Like it can be gone in an instant. And so if somebody does something and I appreciate it, I feel called, like I feel this tug in my heart to like do it right then and there. And it kind of goes back to a quote that I have hanging next to my bedside table. And it's basically, to paraphrase, it says, you you live this life only once, and if there's a chance for me to do something nice for someone or show some sort of kindness to someone, do it then. Don't put it off.
Yeah.
Don't wait. Do it right then and there, because I might not walk by that path ever again. Like,
Yeah.
so that's something I daily remind myself of. And so some people, I think, to be honest, here recently, I feel like for some people that is a little off-putting for them, and I'm sorry if I come across that way. But something just snapped in me at that moment, and I just feel like if I appreciate somebody or they do something that I just feel like I don't know, I want to say something, do something right then and there,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
might be giving them something that I think they want, or it might be saying something, or maybe a little memento. But I just feel like if I'm silent about this, I just keep it all to myself, and they never know. Some people need to hear that.
Yeah. They
Some
might never know.
people, they need to
Yeah.
know that, oh, they're appreciated. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I take that gamble, right? So
Well, I
yeah.
listen. I can't speak for everybody. I will tell you this: that it's not off-putting to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Give me a second. Sorry, that was my.
I know, bro.
They let me know that the guy's done. So,
Awesome. I
yeah.
hope they did a good job.
They put a they put a brand new one in. The one we had for some reason, it kept like it would kick on, but the
Mhm.
pilot light wouldn't catch. So
Oh, okay.
the no hot water, and then it would
Oh
shut
yeah,
off, and you'd
that
have to go
that
and reset
sucks.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one or two times, okay, but it
Right.
was happening like three times a day, and I was telling like I said, obviously my parents live with me, and I was telling them like, we got to get it changed now because in the wintertime we're fucked
Yep.
if this happens. So
Yep.
we went and pulled the trigger on it, and they just they put a brand new one in. So
That's a
hopefully we
good
don't have.
call. That's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
a good call.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because like, well, I got more good news today too because my father was telling me that because he goes to dialysis 3 days a week,
Hmm.
and they told him that his kidneys are actually getting better.
Nice. That
So
is good.
so if
Yeah.
they continue to get better, he might be either a candidate for a transplant for
Uh huh.
sure,
Uh huh.
or they might be able to take him off dialysis. So that was good news today. I didn't think I was
That's
going to
a
hear that.
blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm very happy to hear that. But I don't mean to sidetrack us. Sorry,
Oh no,
sorry
man.
for
We're
that.
just talking, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's
But the
one thing
dude,
I talk to
when
people
chill,
for.
I'll tell you right, you're not off putting at all. Because like I said, it's not in this day and age. The way everybody is, the how standoffish people are, how
Hmm.
people choose sides, or whatever however you
Hmm.
want to word it. To find somebody who is generous, kind, honest, friendly, that's a fucking rarity. It's rare nowadays.
Well, I'm
S-
glad you think so. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not. I have my flaws. I mean, I'm a human
Oh, we all
being.
do. We all
I
do.
make mistakes.
Yeah.
I misread situations. You know, so here recently, I think after DFW, I've kind of scaled back a little bit because I feel
Yeah.
like maybe I came on too strong. I don't know. Just like I said, when I appreciate something or somebody, I don't know. Some like I said, a lot of things changed for me in the last few
Oh, yeah.
years. I just realized how mortal I really am, and like in the end of the when all that's said and done, when I'm gone, all this stuff that I collect, all the costumes, all the toys, all the Lego, my wife's gonna either keep it or sell it.
Yeah.
It's not really doing anything for anybody. So and how are people gonna remember me? And I'm just hoping if I can just at least one person can remember that I did something that touched them and changed their life. That's all I want. Just one person.
Yeah.
That would be enough for me in my mind.
Well, I can
So,
honestly believe that you've changed the lives of two people, me and my wife, when you've
well,
come into our life. So
that's a
mission
blessing to hear.
accomplished, buddy. Like for real, man. Because me and my
Yeah.
wife talk about you daily and how wonderful you are and how much of an amazing human being you are and how blessed we are. Because when I first came into this, she pushed me into this. I was never gonna do a channel, and if
Hmm.
I had it, but I was never gonna add anything to it. It was just it was just
Yeah.
there. And she was the one who really pushed me to start talking because I was watching live streams just like anybody else, but I would just
Hmm.
leave it on. I wouldn't say a word because I didn't think anybody cared or wanted to hear what I had to say or my opinions. And she was the one who pushed me to do it. And because of
Yeah.
it, I've now so many friends. Like
Yes.
it was like an explosion, like a big bang, essentially.
It's
And
been good. Yeah,
yeah,
YouTube is something I'm kind of new to. I didn't really get into. I
yeah,
used to watch YouTube just to watch the news,
yeah, yeah,
and it wasn't until last year in the fall, my friend told me about Articulated Ninja,
yeah. That
and
guy's
I was
great.
going through some depression and stuff, and a lot of times when I'm alone, I'm sitting alone, sometimes I get lost in my head and my thoughts, and
Hmm.
I get depressed and stuff, and he kind of recognized that, and he's also a fellow action figure lover, and
Yeah,
he was all about Articulated Ninja. So everything that I found on YouTube was through Articulated Ninja's channel. It kind of like spider webbed out from there. But Ninja's one of those that did a lot for me, and I think when I was in a really dark spot in my mind, his keeping it real videos where he talks about depression and all this other kind of stuff, it really, like, I guess I was in the right place at the right time to hear it,
oh yeah, yeah,
and that was really appreciated. I think there's a there's like a stigma out there for like men to talk about depression
yeah,
and talk about what they're going through, and they're afraid to because they're going to be judged. But it's like, nah, man, it's just you're a human being,
yeah,
and we all have these thoughts and these feelings, and we all have these needs, and we're human beings were made to be social. So, I mean, yeah, Ninja's videos really changed a lot for me. And then in your channel, the Sunday chill stuff was, to me, was groundbreaking, and just the way you can
thank
just
you.
kind of just chill and hang out and talk and just be real, and just, I don't know, it just feels like we're all sitting around a campfire,
Yeah,
and and trading stories or just talking about whatever pops in our mind, and there's no judgment, and you just make everyone feel comfortable and stuff. So,
Dude, that was
um,
the goal. That was I
yeah,
told my when we started this whole thing, me and her, and she said, "Talk." It was
hmm
Articulated Ninja. He was the first guy. I saw him because he was always coming up in the feed because he was, had the most followers, so he was always hype in the algorithm. So you just watch his stuff, and I saw that. I saw a couple of his keeping it reels, and I'm going through the same thing: depression, social anxiety. I have crippling social anxiety to a point where I on this, it's easy because I'm in the safety of my own home. But in
hmm
public, if we met each other, it might be a totally different animal. And it's not because I'm
yeah,
an asshole or a dickhead. It's because my insides brain just
yeah.
shuts down because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And like,
I
because
feel you. I
yeah,
have to push myself. A lot of people don't realize
yeah,
this, but they think like, oh, I'm like social man. I have to push myself so hard to like open up
yeah,
um
yeah,
in a like in-person environment. And that's one thing I like about the 501st Legion is I can go to these conventions and do stuff and meet people, but I'm in costume
yeah,
and I'm wearing a helmet, and it's almost like a force field. It's something
yeah.
that separates. It's like a barrier,
Oh yeah,
but like just like my hands are, it's a barrier between me and that
yeah,
person.
yeah,
And so it allows me to kind of come out of my shell.
yeah, yeah.
And then like yeah, it takes a lot for me to and I tell you, at the end of the day, when I get back to the hotel room, I'm drained.
The social points are gone, right? And you're just sitting there
Woo!
empty. Yeah, yeah. I trust me.
It's
I
something
know,
that I
buddy.
don't really talk about, but yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, wow,
No,
man, that
yeah.
took a lot out of me, like, because I'm always in the back of my mind. I'll be honest with you, I'm always like, what are they really thinking about me?
Uh huh.
Uh, how do
All
they
the
really
time.
feel about me? I bet they hate me.
Yeah.
Things go through your head, like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
they probably, think I'm a goofy motherfucker,
Okay.
just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear,
Dude,
but
that's all totally fine.
but
Every time
but you
every
know,
time we leave a convention, I tell her, I'm like, or like we end the stream. I say, well, I don't know how they stay. Like, I don't know how I keep them entertained. And she like has to hit me and be like, what's wrong with you? Like they're having a great time. They're telling you that they're
yeah,
having a great time. But I still can't believe it. I'm
yeah,
still like, because I'm still in my head thinking, my wife just walked through the door. I still can't, I still like have an issue believing that I'm that likable, I guess, whatever you want to call it, because I'm like, what the hell? Like when I spoke to Aaron and he was like, I want you to know that your streams are one of the most entertaining streams I've ever watched.
yeah.
And I
You have
was
an
just like,
aura about you, man. You have an aura. I
I
yeah,
it's like a duck on water. Like it
yeah.
looks like this, but on the inside,
It it's like, to be honest with you, Ninja has that same aura.
yeah, yeah.
Some people have it. They got that aura of just, you know,
You
they're
hide
like
it well. We hide it well, don't we?
you're like the candle, right? And
Yeah,
then you got guys like me, we're the moth,
yeah.
and we're just like we're attracted to that flame.
Listen, I'm
So
happy that I'm happy that I can put a smile on guys like you, Jeff, Zakanin, Jay Gonzo, Woody. I'm happy I could put smiles on your guys' faces on a Sunday night. And that was like, listen, that was literally the going. She said, like we were watching live streams, and I
mhm,
like them all. Don't get me wrong. I watched
yeah,
some. But my wife said to me, she goes, "You can do that," and I said, "What?" She goes, "You're funny." Like when I'm with her,
yeah,
that's how I am on Sundays. I'm with her I like that with her all the time.
yeah.
And she's
It's
like, if
funny.
you just do what you do to me,
Yeah,
just that, trust me, they'll watch. And
yeah,
I was like, I don't think so. And then so that first Sunday we went live. I was just looking at her like, all right, I hope you're ready. It's just gonna be me and you. And and then all of a sudden, like, people showed up and she was like, I told you. And I was like, all right, let's see how far we get. And it's growing. I couldn't
yeah,
believe it because the numbers when we first started were much. Now the numbers are growing. I'm shocked. And to see the consistent people. Like every Sunday, it's like I told it today yesterday. It's like it's like appointment viewing. Like the same
yeah.
people come through every time, and they
Yeah.
let you know that they're here. Like that's what you want.
I
If
I
that's it, if that's all it gets, like I don't need thousands of people to watch
I
me. If
try
that's
my
it,
best not to miss it. Like sometimes I come in late.
yeah,
There are
that's all
times
good, man.
where because my work schedule
Yeah,
changes,
yeah,
sometimes I'm
yeah,
working and I can't catch it at all. But I try my best because it's like I always look forward to that Sunday pre-roll, man. That it's like one of the highlights of my week. And it's just like I'm not
yeah,
ashamed to say it. Like
yeah.
people can clown on me, like some people put like they judge you, and they might
Oh
even
yeah,
not say it to your face, but they'll have
oh
like
yeah,
some sort of judgment about, oh yeah, you watch YouTubers and this, that, and the other thing. I've run into people when I talk about YouTube because I'll talk about it. I was like, man, this is awesome show to watch. Some people are receptive to it and they understand it, and other people are like, why are you watching people talk on YouTube?
Me too.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, you just don't get it.
We don't get. Yeah.
Everyone's
Yeah.
into different things, so I'm not going
Absolutely.
to sit
Yeah.
there and judge and everything. But yeah, I'll be proud to say I enjoy and look forward to trying my damnedest to be there for the Sunday show.
When I was funny too, because when I was coming up with a name, and I said to her, I was like, I think I want to name it the pre-roll. And she
Yeah,
she like looked at me. She's like, "That's the name." She
yeah,
goes, "You
yeah,
found it. Like there's no other
yeah.
name." And I was like, "All right." And then yesterday, I think it was Just Jeff asked like, "Do you think about doing like a Patreon or like a membership thing?" And I was like,
Hmm.
"Yes, actually, I am thinking about it because there's a lot of other stuff that I want to do that I don't
Hmm.
want to be bogged down by just going like a live or posting it to YouTube and worrying about people seeing it. That you know, it's very marijuana heavy, my channel. So I was, that's why that'd be the only reason I put a paywall because there's certain things I want to do that I would, if you pay, then I guess it's okay. They can't say nothing because people are paying,
Uh,
you know.
right, right, right,
But
right.
so that'd be the only reason I would
Yeah.
do something like that so that I can give you extra content. But like here's the thing, listen, me between you, me, and the lamppost here, and my wife, I smoke a lot
Yeah.
because of the anxiety, because of the
Yeah.
depression. I have crippling depression. People like I said, you come in on a Sunday pre roll, you couldn't tell
Hmm.
because when I watch some of this stuff back sometimes for clips,
Yeah.
I'm like, if you didn't know anybody, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't think nothing's wrong with me,
Hmm.
But I know me,
Yeah.
she knows me,
Yeah.
So like it takes a lot to get there to do
Right.
all those silly voices and be that funny. It takes a
Hmm.
lot to get there. So to me, I'm like, I want to mind some of these guys actually sharing in the process with me. Watching actually how much it takes to get there because it takes a lot, man. Like before we start, I'm sitting here shaking, literally
Yeah.
shaking because of nerves. Because I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know what's gonna. Are people gonna be bored? I have like 100 things around me to
Yeah.
make sure that I don't bore people because I'm so afraid that if just talking here might
No,
bore people.
just being yourself is refreshing. So I think that's why so many people are jumping on board and hanging out, and it's growing. Is just because and I get what you're saying and why you medicate for that purpose,
Yeah,
and I don't see anything wrong with that at all. I've got my own opinions on marijuana. We call it pakalolo back home,
yeah,
uh, which literally means crazy cigarette. Um, but to me, it's all natural,
yeah.
and God made it and put it on this earth, so it's
I
there to
listen.
be.
I'll say it multiple times. I've said this multiple times on multiple streams and videos that it saved my life because I
Yeah,
was going
it
down
saved a lot of people's lives. So I
yeah,
don't I don't see anything wrong with it. I get a lot, like some places have, because of antiquated laws and stuff that are on
yeah.
the books and stuff. They are following whatever their laws are, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's like it should just be okay across the board.
I firmly
Uh,
believe that too, man.
yeah,
Because like I said, it was a lifesaver. It literally because I was going down a dark road with pills and it changed everything. So
yeah. It's funny. Like I can't remember the exact stuff, but when I was in college, there was a course and they talked about how marijuana got added into the heavy narcotics list and became illegal. It was something that Nixon did, and he
yeah,
wanted to weaponize something against the hippies. And it
yeah,
wasn't so much that he thought marijuana was that dangerous or bad. It's just he used it as a way to fight back against that political spectrum.
man, yeah, yeah.
And so I thought that was pretty despicable.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, for sure.
so anyway, that we can talk about legalization all day long, but yeah, that
Very
that
true.
stuff doesn't bother me at all. No, I think the people that watch you, I don't think they're bothered by it either. They're probably of
Yeah,
the same mindset or similar mindset
yeah,
as I
yeah.
am.
I'm starting to learn that, dude, and I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who
Now,
comes.
if
I
you're
appreciate.
sitting there, doing lines of cocaine off
I
of
think
an
that'd
empty
be a
butt,
problem.
I'd be like, "Whoa, this guy's going a little too far,
Yeah,
man."
it might be a serious problem. Yeah,
Got Pablo Escobar over here,
yeah,
man. Hey, man, you want to build a snowman?
yeah, for real. Just like constantly, like, yeah, let's do it, man. Fucking let's do it. I'll start
you
cutting
would
all
you
this
would
shit.
you wouldn't be doing Macho Man. You'd be doing the Ultimate Warrior, man.
Warrior. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure, dude. So, uh, Do you think you'll be collecting action figures forever, or you think there's a shelf life on it, bud?
No, I think forever. I can see myself like 78 years
Oh,
old,
me too.
with a freaking 92 point
Yeah,
articulated figure, with hyper realistic details. I just don't, because I look at figures like 3D art, and I love art.
yeah,
Like my walls are through the whole house are plastered with art. I
yeah. I was seeing the Instagram
when
post of some of your
when
artwork, man. It's
I
amazing.
try to focus, like I could literally do a whole year of posts of nothing but art, like day by day by day. Um, I would go to these conventions. There's a lot of artists there,
Oh yeah,
comic book artists, just regular, just painters. I mean, and I'll see something, and I usually make it a point at every convention that I go to. I make it a point to buy at least one piece of art,
okay,
and it's never hard to find something that I like,
yeah, yeah.
and I believe in supporting artists. Um, I have a lot of friends that are artists. There's a Godzilla painting that's right over here,
Oh yeah.
that my friend Theo Lee made for me. Um, and he's been a lifelong friend, that I came up with in Hawaii, and he works for Marvel sometimes. He's like
All
a
right, on.
freelance artist and
Hell
stuff.
yeah.
Um, but that's what he does. He's just an artist. That's how he makes his money and his living, and he puts food on the table. And so I think a lot of artists are that way. And so I always believe in supporting artists. And yeah, I love art, and action figures to me are just like little 3D art that you can kind of move around and play with and
Hell
do
yeah,
different
dude.
things with, and then make your own art with, by doing like photography with them and stuff. And some of it you share, and some of it you just keep it for
Keep it to
yourself.
yourself, yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't see action figures going away. It'll probably be one of those things where when I pass, they'll be coming up into this like home full of toys and art, and they'll look around and be like, okay, so how do we turn this into an estate sale?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, dude, I told my wife, I was like, yeah, if I go before you, there's a lot here. Just talk to the guys, and they'll price things out for you. If you didn't want them,
Yeah.
just tell them do what you want.
Well, my wife's a fellow geek, so she collects stuff too, and so
Yeah,
she has an understanding. She's also a costumer, so she's got a good understanding of what things are worth. So,
awesome, awesome.
I think some of it she'd probably keep, and some of it she probably would sell on, or she would do something charitable minded
Yeah,
with it, because she's understands how I
awesome.
feel. And she herself is
Yeah,
charitable minded, so um, yeah, I'm not too worried about the collection when I'm gone.
hell yeah,
What I have will, I hope, goes to help someone else.
yeah,
And then, like I said, I don't want to get too overboard, because when it gets to the point where I feel like I've got too much going on, or I need to make room or whatever, I usually just try to, in some way, remove it from the collection, but also use it to pay it forward.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so a lot of times that's what I'll do. Like, I'm getting close to a time where I think I need to do another purge, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did
Uh,
before when I got out of the hospital. Is I'm just going to utilize it to buy sealed and packaged stuff. Because what they do, the kids in the hospital at the cancer center, their immune systems are already compromised, so
okay,
you can't give them used toys.
it's gotta be brand new.
It's got to be brand new in the packaging.
Okay,
And even the packaging, though, doesn't make it to the floor. What they do is, like, you'll donate the toys in the packaging, uh, to the first floor level. They have
yeah,
like an
yeah,
intake room and everything, and then they disinfect the heck out of the packaging.
okay.
And then once it's all dried and everything and disinfected, they open it and take
Wow,
all the sealed stuff out of the box, and the clamshells or whatever. They toss the packaging, and then they give all the contents to the kids,
to the kids, yeah.
and that keeps the I have brain
Airborne pathogens or whatever.
any kind of pathogens
Yeah,
or anything
yeah,
from affecting the kids, because they have
yeah.
that. And so I'm like,
Amazing.
oh, and so that's when I was like, okay, so that's what I'm gonna do, is
Yeah,
anytime you give toys, make sure it's like sealed
in
in the
package.
package. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's good
that's
to
the
know.
thing with them. A lot of people don't realize that. I didn't realize it until I got
Yeah,
involved with that, and I was like, so it's not like I can take my used toys and just say, here, take these and give them
yeah,
to the kids. I don't know. So I have to actually go through the process of bartering, trading, selling, whatever. And usually, if I'm trading with like a shop that does like tradings, I tell them what I'm doing, and a lot of times they actually give me better deals because they realize what I'm doing.
Yeah,
And
because
it's like,
you're not trying to get over them for your own
no,
gain.
no, no, it's not for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
listen, like this is my plan. This is what I'm gonna do. They already know. A lot of the places I deal with already know me now anyway.
yeah, yeah,
And they get to see the pictures and all that stuff of us up at the hospital and stuff. So it's like I appreciate that. Like there's a lot, and that's why I like the small mom and pop brick and mortar like
yeah,
stores, whether it's like a flea market type store or if it's actual like a vintage toy comic place or whatever. Is like those people. That's how they put food on the table. That's how
yeah,
they put their kids through school. That's how they pay for their medical benefits. And when they make special deals because they know it's going to go to a good cause, that's a sacrifice for them too.
yeah.
And
No, yeah.
I appreciate the heck out of that. And
Oh
that's
yeah,
why I try my best. I like buying from like secondary markets. And I think that's why I like vintage toys, especially like any like the GI Joe stuff or
mhm.
Ninja Turtles. I try to go more vintage. I do pick up some new stuff, but I do like getting vintage toys because I know when I'm buying it, I'm supporting that shop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the next convention coming up for you in terms of the 501st? Anything?
That'll be the ICCC. It's
Okay.
like the Dragon Con for Star Wars.
Oh wow.
Uh, yeah, they have like the last few years, almost every living Star Wars actor known,
Wow. Okay.
even to like the real obscure background characters, like come there and do autographs and signings and pictures and stuff. And I've been there before, and it's a really really fun convention.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Where is it?
I I think when it's in Nashville, Tennessee,
Nashville. Okay. Okay.
and it's not that far of a drive for me. But it's one me and my wife are both looking forward to, and
Nice.
um, I'm probably gonna be when I'm doing that one. There's like these subgroups that I costume with the Star Wars community that are like interconnected with 501st.
Yeah.
But I think at that one I'm gonna be more representing the Defenders detachment,
Oh,
and
nice.
what it is it's a bunch of 501st and other Star Wars costume groups like Mandalorian Mercs and stuff like that, Rebel Legion. They all come together, but the Defenders detachment are all first responder
Oh, nice.
related stuff because my background is in criminal justice, and now I'm doing more like corporate security and disaster preparedness.
Okay. Okay.
And we do stuff like on an international level.
Oh wow.
So I'm watching everything from like security clearance stuff to earthquakes and
Yeah.
tsunamis
Wow.
around the world. Um, but yeah, it's all first responder related or connected people that do costuming, and they basically check your credentials, and then if you meet them, they allow you in this defenders detachment. So it's like everything from police to EMTs to nurses to anyone that deals with like operation, like any kind of first response
Man. Yeah.
operation stuff, any of that kind of stuff. So I think that's the group I'm going to be representing at that event.
Nice, dude.
Um, and if 501st is there, because they weren't there last year, I don't think. But if they go this year, of course, I'll tie into them. And then there's another detachment that was created by the founder of the 501st that he
Okay.
runs separately, and it's called the Walking Wounded Detachment.
Okay.
And that's for anyone who costumes who has suffered like any kind of major
Injury.
injuries.
Oh wow.
And they'll allow you to join. And I joined that after I got out of the hospital.
Yeah.
I was talking to the gentleman, and he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "I would love to have you in there because like I don't really talk much about it, but the stuff that happened to me in the hospital also kind of affected me
Yeah.
in a permanent way.
Okay. Okay.
I think the lack of oxygen that was going to my brain when I flatlined, it did some irreparable
Yeah.
like brain damage. So there's some things that I still work through and stuff, and I don't
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
talk a
Yeah.
lot about that kind of stuff. But um, anyone who has had that kind of any sort of brain damage, my heart goes out to you because I know sometimes things can be a challenge. Like sometimes even like your thought processes. Sometimes
Oh yeah.
there's like a hiccup in it, and so I don't have it like really really bad, but it's there, and
Yeah.
it's just something that I'm gonna live with for the rest of my life. And yeah, I think that adds to like my level of like compassion is realizing that like everyone's going through something,
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's like I try my best, and I fail all the time, but I try my best to be positive and to uplift other people,
Yeah, man.
and let people know, I care about them, or I appreciate something that they do, or I try my best to do that. But I'm
Well,
not
like I said,
perfect.
you
I
when
mess
it
up all the time, though,
when it
man.
comes
I
to
do.
when it comes to this, and I can't speak for everybody you do it for, but when it comes to this end, man, everything you do is appreciated, and to the highest regard. Me and my wife, we appreciate you so much, bud. Like you have no idea, man.
I appreciate you guys.
You know.
It's like I said, the YouTube thing, like I said, is still kind of new to me. But over time, I kind of see where I fit in and where
Yeah.
I value certain things over other things, and it's just I'm kind of still finding my way.
That's
Um,
how it is, dude. Like listen, I'm fairly new to it as well,
mhm.
And at first, when I first came in, I was like, "Oh my god, this community is so welcoming. They're so nice. There's so many." And then I found the drama. I found, the
Yeah,
sour eggs and shit like
yeah,
that. And
yeah,
with like anything, you'll find it. You'll
yeah,
find it'll find you, even if you're
yeah.
not
It
looking for it.
does.
It'll
Well,
find you.
YouTube is social media, so it's
Yeah.
got the same things that
Hmm.
Facebook, the same thing Instagram, the same thing Reddit.
Yeah.
All those things have the same things, and
Yeah.
some people can deny it, but yeah, you've got stuff going on behind the scenes and even out there in your face, because it's social media. It's
Yeah.
just video.
Yeah.
It's video social media. It's like live social media.
Yeah.
So, but it's still social media. So yeah, you just kind of got to find your way, find where you fit in, and then find people that kind of gel with you and understand, or you are willing to understand you. That's the other
Yeah.
thing, and that's the one thing that I kind of learned here recently with Facebook is hey, I'll just use you for example. You're out here talking. You got your Sunday live streams. You're doing your play action videos, which by the way we haven't talked about on this video, but I love your play action.
Thanks so
Um,
much.
and your just everything that you put out on YouTube and stuff, and like someone like me comes along and I discover you, and I'm like, wow, I like this guy. I'm gonna hit subscribe. I'm gonna hit the notifications every time something new comes in. I know it's coming. Um, Interact with you, talk
Yeah.
with you,
Yeah.
send you messages, link up with you on Instagram, sharing the memes and everything, and kind of like becoming friends and stuff. But while you have that platform and you're doing this stuff because you are basically sharing what you love and what you enjoy, because you're hoping other people find enjoyment in that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't think everyone that does this stuff actually wants to be your friend.
Hmm.
So it's like, for me, it's like that's where
Yeah.
my gullible little soft heart gets kind of confused,
Yeah.
especially with what happened afterwards, and my mind kind of changed on some things.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, let me love you. Let me. They're like, get away from me. Like it's like okay, but yeah, but when I sit back and think about it, they didn't ask for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
didn't invite that, so I have to sit back and be respectful and say, hey,
Yeah.
and that's why I say sometimes I think I can be off-putting for some people, because it's like they're like, hey, dude, I appreciate you follow the channel, but like stay over there. And it's like
Yeah.
it's like
Some people.
ah, and it's
Some
not
people
like it's not. I'm not saying it's like it's not. What's the
like a
word?
slight or a knock on them.
Well, it's not like they're trying to. They're mean people
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
people. I mean,
Yeah.
they're amazing, talented, great
Yeah.
people. Like, don't get me wrong there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I have to sit back and reevaluate myself and be like, man,
The
you know,
best way I can tell you about that is some people create channels to share knowledge,
hmm
share their love of toys or
right,
whatever it is, right?
hmm
Some people have no intentions of making friends at all. They already
right,
have their friendship circle.
right,
They're
right,
fine with that, and this is just something they do to kind of just get it out.
right,
And when someone, you, me, we come along, we start trying to be a friend or be
hmm
friendly,
hmm
they
hmm
don't know how to. They're not receptive to it,
right,
or they don't receptive well to it because they're like, wait a minute, I don't. I have plenty of friends. I don't need.
yeah, right,
Thank you for the
right.
kind words, but thank you. You know,
And
uh,
that's okay. That's
yeah, that's totally
totally,
fine. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's what I'm. kind of learning is like, oh wait a
Yeah.
minute, I gotta reel this back a little
Yeah.
bit, like
You got to pick your
uh,
spots. Is what it
yeah,
is. Yeah, yeah. Because
you
when
know,
I came on here to make friends. That's
hmm
like when my wife was like, start talking. It wasn't to hey, go to my channel. Like I
yeah,
wasn't putting myself over. It was I wanted to start talking to people who love toys the way I did. Like so
right,
I just why I don't bombard somebody who doesn't really give a fuck to hear about that stuff. Like
right,
I want to
right,
talk to somebody when I tell them about a pre order or this coming out or I look what I just picked up at the store that they
hmm
get the same excitement that I had getting it. Like oh shit, I'm looking for that too, whatever it is.
yeah,
Like that's the whole reason I went on. So when guys like you, Woody, and Jeff and all you guys start talking to me to be friends, naturally I'm going to be absolutely receptive to it because that's
right,
why I came on here for the
right,
the numbers, whether it's subscriber base, viewership,
hmm
whatever you want to call it. That's all bonus to me. Like I
yeah,
didn't expect that to happen. I'm happy it's happening. Don't get me wrong. I want it to grow.
right,
It's great, but
right,
if it stopped and I capped it right now with what it
hmm
was, and
hmm
all I get is 30 people on the stream, the
hmm
same 30, I'm good
yeah,
because I now got 4, 5, maybe 6 very good friends out of this, which I
yeah,
didn't expect to get any. And I already
right,
got 6. So anything after that, I'm playing with house money.
yeah,
So I already won. It's in my
yeah.
eyes.
It's a
Some
good feeling.
guys,
Yeah,
yeah, and there was some guys, they go on with the intent, this channel is going to make me money or it's
hmm
going to make me get me YouTube famous is what we usually call it. And that's their goal. I'm not making friends. You're going to be a fan,
yeah,
and you're staying on that side of the line, and I'm on this side of the line, and that's where I'm comfortable. That's where you need to be comfortable, and that's fine. Like you said,
yeah,
totally fine. I respect it, but that's where you got to pick your spots.
right,
Woody always says, "Real recognizes real." Like
yeah,
Woody's, I know who I can vibe with and talk to,
hmm
and that's usually how I am. Like the in terms of YouTubers, like I refuse to call it toy tubers, by the way. I refuse. It's YouTubers. Is Savage Land, Articulated Ninja, and honestly, it was like Krusty Old Crow, which I didn't really expect. He was just a surprise. Then everybody else was like, I met you through chats. I met Jeff through chats. I met Jay Gonzo through chats. So and even Woody, I met through chats. I didn't meet him this way. So it was really just Savage Land, Articulated Ninja were the real YouTubers that I
right,
kind of engaged and formed a friendship with. It
hmm
was you guys, and that's really what I was reaching out to was you guys because I was in the chats just like you on Ninja's thing, just trying to
yeah,
be friends with people. And then, like I said, my wife was the one who turned around and goes, "Oh, you can go live. You can do this stuff. You know how to do it. You do it for a living." Like
right,
so, it's like, all right, that'll just all be bonus. That's icing on the cake that I already baked.
yeah,
That's how I look at it. So just you know, I'm not saying that you do, so please don't take this like what I'm about to say. Don't ever get worried or offended or I don't want to say or maybe wary to make friends with people. If they don't want to be friends with you, they'll set the boundary, and
oh
you just
no, I
back
don't
off.
have that problem. I go into stuff. My wife was talking to me about it a couple of days ago. She was like, because I was depressed about a certain situation, and
Yeah,
she was just like, you know, she's like, that's what I love about you. Is like you just go full force and love
yeah,
people, and she's like, I hate it that it where some people let you down and you get hurt by their reactions to you, and
yeah,
that
yeah,
part sucks. She hates seeing that, but and yeah, it does happen. But then I'm also that person that I force myself to reflect on myself
yeah,
and kind of change my mindset on things because I think that's like an important part of like critical thinking, and
yeah, absolutely.
it's an important part of like being mature is like everyone else is not the problem.
Yeah,
Most of the time your problem is
mm-hmm.
you have to work on yourself. You have to make, and no one can make you happy except yourself. Like
Facts.
it's a mindset, right? It's like you can be a miserable person because you choose to be miserable, or you can be a happy person because you choose to be happy.
Yeah,
And so that's where it's in it, but it's a work. It's a lot of work. You gotta push yourself into that position because it's easy to sit back and wallow and be like, oh, woe is me,
oh yeah, oh yeah,
and it's like, and then you're kind of like forgetting all the positives in life.
yeah,
And so, like, that's something I work on the daily, really. And it's just like, Yeah, so that's not gonna change. I'll find someone new, or I'll think we connect, and I'll go full blast. And
Yeah,
if they are receptive to it, like you are, great. We're gonna make friends. We're gonna have
yeah,
make memories. We're gonna share
yeah,
toys. We're gonna send each other stuff. We're gonna. It creates a beautiful thing.
yeah,
And then other people that aren't receptive to it, then I just need to like twist a little gear and say, okay, noted. They're uncomfortable or they're just not interested,
yeah,
and that's okay.
yeah, yeah,
Scale back, reposition, and it doesn't mean they're bad people or whatever. It's just you're just not going to be friends with everybody.
yeah.
I mean,
No,
I'm sure there's people out there that I know for a fact there's people out there that I have come across, not so much on YouTube. I can't really think of anyone that I'm really having any animosity. Like right now, everyone on YouTube, either I'm indifferent because I don't know enough about you,
yeah, yeah,
or I like you, or I really like you. That's kind of
yeah.
where I am with YouTubers. But out in the real world, yeah, there's people that, yeah, I
You
just
gotta be
do
careful.
not,
Yeah, steer
I
clear
do
from
not get
them.
along with,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just because they are just,
yeah,
unfortunately, the bad actors in life. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well,
It's
listen,
like,
I've noticed this recently for myself. Like, I have a very close knit group of friends through pro wrestling. I've had them for
mm-hmm,
years,
mm-hmm,
but now things are changing, getting older.
mm-hmm,
I have a wife now, you know. My interests may, while we have common ground on things, it's just they're separated. My interests are getting really into the toys, and I love
mm-hmm.
collecting toys. I love making dioramas. I love doing that stuff.
Yeah.
That really has my full undivided attention. Of course, along with my wife. You know, but I noticed that I'm distancing. Not saying distancing, but like kind of drifting away
Mm-hmm.
from the regulars. You
Yeah.
know, of course, my friends that I've been close with for years, they go nowhere. Obviously, if they
Mm-hmm.
ever need me, I'm there. Obviously,
Right.
right? But
Right.
like, I noticed some people, I'm just not. Not to say that I don't want to be friends with you. I'll still be friends with you. We'll still talk and everything like that. But you got your life, and I got my life, and this is the way it's just going to be now.
Yeah.
And now I have a new group that nothing. Like I said, it's not a slight. It's nothing
Mm-hmm.
against you that now we're not hanging out no more. It's just our interests are not aligned no more.
Well, you
You know?
grow, you
Yeah.
change as like I'm not the same person I was 10 years
Exactly.
ago. I'm not the same
Exactly.
person I was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like not the same person I was back in school, in high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. Facts, man.
Um, actually, it's funny. I was driving with my wife yesterday. We were running some errands, and I told her, I said, it popped in my mind. I was like, man, if you had my brain now and you stuck it in my high school body, I would be a dangerous individual.
For real. For real, man. I
Just
wouldn't
because
play.
it's just all the knowledge that you have that you could use to like position yourself better in life,
Oh
because
yeah.
when you're young and in school, you're so naive,
Oh yeah.
and it's just like, yeah, I mean, I could look back at myself and think, what the hell was I thinking?
Nigga, for real, man.
And the decisions that you made in life that you could have, done differently. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's fun to think about that. But a lot of times I just push those thoughts out of my head because where I'm at in life now, I mean, I'm blessed.
Hell yeah.
I was given a second chance
Oh yeah.
due to the professional expertise of the medical staff, who I will forever applaud and appreciate.
Hell yeah.
Um, and life's just, I love when Ninja says life's short, because it is.
Mhm.
Like mine could have been over already. It could have been over 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be sitting here making friends with you. So that kind of stuff pushes. That helps push a lot of the negative thoughts out of my head, because I'll
Oh
sit
yeah.
back and remember, like, wait a minute, man, like I could be already dead, and this never would have happened. I would have never met some of the people that I met. Like I would have
Mhm.
never met the people I met at DFW this summer.
Yeah.
I never would have sat in a workshop with Gonzo building a custom vehicle with the original GI Joe creators. I
That's something
mean,
else, man. That's such
you
a
gotta sit back and think, like, how blessed are
yeah,
you
yeah.
to be at this point in life? Yeah, I'm not a mega millionaire. I don't have a mansion. I don't have enough room to display everything that I want to collect and stuff like that, and that's okay.
Mm.
And it's like you really get to the mindset too, is like you don't even really want that anyway.
Man, that's very true.
You find in your life where you really just want to make a difference.
Yeah. That's what I tell my wife
Oh,
all the time. I tell my wife, I found my happiness with you, so I don't need anything else. Toys are
yeah.
fun. Toys are great,
Yeah,
but
you can take
now,
all this stuff away. You can take
yeah,
all these toys away, and
you're
you
gonna be
know,
just fine.
I would be okay
Yeah.
because I know what my mission in life is, and I'm connected into like the 501st Legion. It really gave me a lot of purpose,
Hell yeah.
because and allowed me to have fun with that purpose. So I can give back, but I can have fun while I'm giving back
Hell yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And I think
Absolutely.
that's what just takes it over the edge. And
Yeah.
the 501st are really great people, but again, even them, like it's the same thing, right? Some of those people aren't there to be your friend.
Mm,
They're there. I would say 99% of them in the 501st are there for charity, because that's what
yeah.
it's really
That's what it's
about.
for. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was another one of like you get in that group thinking you're gonna be friends with all these people, and it's like no, 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 no. They're not there to be friends with you.
They're just there to like kind of
Uh,
work and do the
they're
job
there
essentially.
because they have it in their heart, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
same thing. They got a mission. They have it. They have this calling. Something is tugging at their heartstrings
Yeah.
to give back, and that's all they want to do. And they're not interested in hanging out with you after an event and having dinner. They're not interested in, you know, and I think at first I was a little like, whoa, like some of these people are like really like antisocial, but no, it's not
Yeah.
really that they're antisocial. It's just they're not there for that. They're there for the mission, and it's like, yeah, okay, I respect the hell out of that too. So I don't push those people to go do anything. Like I don't even bother, really inviting them. The ones that I know are for sure. They
Yeah.
once they're done, they get out of the costume, they pack it up, and they're gone.
Gone. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like that's cool. I mean, because they're there, they supported the mission, they did exactly what they came there to do, which is an amazing thing in itself.
Yeah.
And that is so awesome. And I will never, ever, ever badmouth them just because they don't want to socialize after
Mm,
something. So
yeah.
it's the same thing. Like some people want to be friends and some people don't. So everyone has their own reason and drive and talent.
Everyone lives in their own bubble, and it's their
Yeah.
choice to whether or not they want to let you into that bubble. You
Right.
know?
And I think sometimes for me, it sometimes can be very hard at first
Yeah.
until I think
Yeah.
about it, and then I'm like, yeah, but that's me projecting myself onto them, and that's
Yeah.
not fair to
Exactly.
them,
No.
right? That's
Yeah.
not fair
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to reel myself back,
Yeah.
and it's all a
A
process.
few times I've just said to myself, like, if that person is basically putting up a barrier, telling you that
Hmm.
they don't want to be your friend,
Hmm.
then maybe being their friend isn't a good idea anyway. Don't do it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
because
Well,
maybe,
maybe.
it's not to say that they're bad people. I'm not saying that they're
No.
going to lead you down a road of debauchery or whatever. I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
you know, it just now you don't have to put an effort.
Yeah.
Like, all right, now I don't. We know
Right.
where we know where this line is. So now
Right.
I know where I can go. So that's like to me,
I,
that's
I think
sometimes a good thing.
part of it too is the culture I grew up in. So we've already talked. I grew up in Hawaii,
Yeah, yeah.
and we didn't move to the mainland until I was 32.
Oh yeah.
And that culture there is very direct. Like you
Yeah.
don't beat around the bush, like because you live on an island. Like where are you gonna
Mm.
go? Like you
Yeah.
have to be very yeah. Like if there's a problem, it has to be dealt with right then and there. There's no
Mhm.
putting it off. There's no beating around the bush. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, get it right now, or you're gonna get cracks.
Yeah.
So it's that's a very direct culture, and so I will put this out there that if I'm off-putting or too much for you, just tell me. Like
Come out. Yeah.
I actually prefer the direct, like, hey, listen,
Yeah.
Mython, you're a cool guy, but you're not my kind of guy. And I'll be like, cool. I appreciate you letting me know because one, I'm not wasting your time, my time. I'm not doing something that makes you uncomfortable because the last thing I want to do is make someone uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just so that's the thing about me is like, but moving here to the mainland, I noticed that a lot of people, especially like in like professional circles and stuff, like at work and stuff, there's a lot of beating around the bush here. Like
Yeah.
they're afraid they're gonna offend somebody, or they very careful. They tiptoe around things, and I'm sitting there like, why are you tiptoeing around this?
Yeah.
But it's where I'm from. We don't play those games
Yeah, you
because
just
we
gotta be
can't
straightforward.
afford. We can't afford to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, so yeah,
Sometimes
I would
people just like to play that game too. They like to.
do they? Well, maybe I
Sometimes
don't
you just got to
understand
be
that.
careful. Yeah, yeah. Just one of those things where
Yeah.
we'll never understand it.
Mm,
Because I'm from the same. Now I may not be from Hawaii, but I'm from Queens was like that too. You just
Okay.
direct. You got a
Yeah.
problem?
Yeah.
I had a problem not too long ago. Well, I thought I had an issue with another guy, and instead of being around the bush and going, "Does," I just hit him up. "Yeah, you got a problem with
Yeah.
me?" Like
Yeah.
that, and he was like, "No, not at all." And I was like, "Okay, I'm just making sure," because I
Yeah.
felt like maybe there might have been an issue, and if there is, I want to nip that shit in the bud real quick because I'm not going to sit here and play what if,
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure it was okay.
I
So
think
that,
is that like more of a New Yorker thing because like
oh
so
yeah,
my aspect is I'm more of along the lines of, and I think you've actually seen this in action.
yeah,
I'm more along the lines of like because we got I don't know the generic corny term is aloha spirit, right? You
yeah,
always
yeah,
hear that thrown around, but I come off more like, hey, listen, not so much like, hey, you got a problem, it's
mm,
it's more like if I offended you, I'm sorry because I really
yeah,
am. And so if I did, please let me know what I did so I can apologize for it and won't do it again
yeah,
because I want to correct that action, right? So
yeah,
that's the way I'll come across is I'll like, hey, listen, I'm sorry for whatever I did. Um, Now, if I know what I did, I'll apologize for
yeah,
what I
yeah,
did.
yeah.
But if I'm not sure, like, because sometimes you'll say something, not even think anything of it, and then someone else took it the wrong way,
Oh yeah,
and so I'll be like, listen, I'm not sure exactly what I said or did, but whatever it is, I'm sorry. If you
sorry,
tell
yeah,
me what
yeah,
it is, I'll apologize for it, and I'll change that behavior, or I'll
yeah.
try to change that behavior because I believe in respecting people.
Oh
So,
yeah.
um, and that's just part of growth. Because, like I said, nobody's perfect. We're all human beings. We make mistakes. We make
Well,
misjudgments.
my wife tells me sometimes I'm too direct.
Hmm.
And I think it might be a Queens, a New York City thing because that's how I'm used to dealing with it. Like you got a problem,
I
you just come
love
out.
direct though. So if you're super
Yeah,
direct like that with
yeah,
me, I'm gonna eat it up because
yeah.
it's like
That's
that's
the way I
more
am. Yeah,
akin to what I'm used to anyway.
yeah. Because I've seen now, I'm seeing some weird shit happen now on it. I guess I won't talk about it on here, but and I'm just like, man, I would just be honest. You got a
Yeah,
problem like that,
yeah,
and like, but whatever. Like just like some people, you don't know how to broach them. You don't
right.
know how to talk. So that's to me, it's like, listen, this is me.
Hmm.
I'm blunt. I'm just gonna say it. If you
Yeah,
got a problem with it, got out with it so that we
yeah,
can work the shit out. If we can't work the shit out, then we can't work the shit out. It's not a big deal.
yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
too old. I'm 41. I'm not gonna sit
Hmm.
here and talk shit. Like, I'm not gonna
Nah,
go
yeah,
I'm not gonna do that. I'm too old for that shit. You're
yeah,
too old for that shit. What's the problem? Let's just work it out. Like, but,
yeah.
at the end of the day, we're all, like I said, we all live in our own fucking bubble. We have our own problems. We have our own
Hmm.
insecurities. We have everything going on for us. You may not hide it as well as the other person. You may hide it better than anybody we've ever met in our life, right? But at the end of the day, we're all people, and I'm
Yeah.
sure we might not share a beer. We might not have a laugh, but
Hmm.
we can live in this world civil with no
Yeah.
issues. I
Yeah.
firmly
For
believe
sure.
that.
Yeah. 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 I don't like getting into. Again, that goes back to the same thing we talked about with the Star Wars shows.
Yeah,
Sitting around and just talking trash about a show or a person to me feels like a waste of time.
it really is.
Um,
No, it really is.
Not interested in it. It kind of
No.
bores me, and that's where sometimes you come across some YouTubers that get into talking about other things. Sometimes, like I know recently there was a thing with the Viper Island thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That I feel like it was worth talking about because it was misuse of a certain thing that was like really you're taking away someone's freedom of speech just because you don't agree with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like that's a fundamental right, especially as an American.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like, yeah, that's worth discussing and putting it out
Yeah.
there. But then when people start talking about other people, it kind of turns me off. I'm like, really? There's
Yeah.
nothing more important to talk about? Like, you know what I mean?
Some people live in that pro wrestling world with that
Uh,
world method where they think by talking shit about somebody else will get views because then that
uh,
person has to answer back. You
well, some
know?
people they do like that drama. For me,
Yeah,
drama
yeah,
turns me
yeah.
off, and I start to like grow weary of it. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay,
Especially when it's in a toy world. It's
yeah, I'm here.
toys.
I'm here to talk about toys. What
Yeah,
you like about toys? Your memories of toys, like
yeah.
the nostalgia of
Hell
toys,
yeah. I'm
new
not.
toys. I mean,
Yeah,
so
I'm not here for all that
um,
bullshit.
yeah, so
Speaking of
that's
new
that.
toys, what do you are you excited for anything new?
Yeah, well, we talked about the next two coming out, the Hammond collection.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
I have a whole case dedicated to dinosaurs. I got dinosaur books. I've loved dinosaurs since I was a little kid, and
oh
that's one
yeah,
reason why I collect Jar Jar Binks. I
yeah.
got a huge Jar Jar Binks collection.
He's a
When I
dinosaur.
watched when I watched the movie the first time a long time ago, what was that? 99?
99, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Um when I saw him, he reminded me of Ducky from Land Before Time.
Oh shit. Okay, I can see that.
And it instantly from that
Yeah,
moment created this, like, what is the word, sentimental thing.
yeah, yeah.
I don't care what anyone says about Jar Jar Binks. In fact, I didn't even realize people had a problem with Jar Jar Binks until after really Facebook started taking off,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
became like people talking more openly, because before that, there wasn't really, I never knew anything that there was anything wrong with Jar Jar Binks. So
yeah.
for years I had this sense. So I have like when he was on the cover of Rolling Stone, I have that magazine. I've got art. I've got all kind of art, custom art. I've got custom figures of him, action figures of him. I've got the micro machines. I've got every type of
That's awesome.
Jar Jar Binks on card hanging from my. I have like little push pins with the
Yeah,
mock figures of Jar Jar.
that's
I
awesome.
got Jar Jar, all sorts of different like knickknacks and um, candy dishes and whatever's Jar Jar. If I see it and I don't have it, it's like, okay, I'm getting it. I have
Gotta
like
have it. Yeah.
12 different Jar Jar Bink shirts. Um, I so that he reminded me of Ducky, and I've always loved dinosaurs since I was a kid. And my mom used to get me the what was it called? It came in a green case and it had the file cards of all the animals, Wildlife Treasury,
All right. Yes, right there. I remember
and
that.
they came out with dinosaur packs.
Yeah, I remember
And so
those.
I had the animal ones, but then she got me the dinosaurs, and she got me another case to have all the dinosaurs in. And I used to just pour over those for hours, looking at the art, reading all the files about where they found
Yeah.
the fossil, what year it was found, what kind of diet they thought it ate. And I was always fascinated with dinosaurs. And so when the Hammond collection and stuff, when I found out about Hammond collection, I went all in. You talk about
Mm.
balls deep on Hammond collection. I am balls deep in. So, looking forward to the Pyroraptor. That was in the last Jurassic World movie,
Okay.
the Dominion one,
Yeah,
where they
yeah.
had the Biosyn Valley.
Okay.
It's the dinosaur that she crashed the plane into that frozen lake, and they had to battle that. That was the Pyroraptor. He
Okay.
had like red feathers on him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they made that into a figure. But right now, the only reviews I've seen were from 11 days ago. So he's just hitting the Asian Australian markets now. So
Oh.
I'm assuming he'll be out in the States soon.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then the other one is the Velociraptor Delta, because they came out with blue already,
Yeah, yeah.
but it was one of the sidekick raptors from Jurassic World, the first
Mm-hmm.
movie, and Delta is the next one. So those two I'm looking out for. I can't wait to add them to the collection. To me, they're like the Creative Beast Studio figures, but way more affordable.
Yeah, yeah. You told me about that.
Because I love those. I wish I could collect those, but I'd refuse to jump in because of their price points.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not saying they're not great figures and beautiful. They are. Trust me, I admire them. I love watching the videos of them. I'm subscribed to their Instagram. I love looking at them, but I can't afford those. And I'm like one of those people that once I pop that Pringle can of, like, if I bought one,
You're buying another one. Yeah.
I'm buying another one, and then another one. It's just like, yeah. Then I end up bankrupt. My wife won't continue. But yeah. So yeah, I kind of focus my mind. So with that one, I'm a completionist of Hammond
Mm.
collection. So I have everything except one dinosaur that I missed, and there's someone very special that is said they would help me get that, so that would
Awesome.
complete my collection. So I was like,
Awesome, man.
when that happens, I don't. I'm probably gonna post it on my Instagram when it
Oh
shows
yeah.
up.
Awesome,
But
dude.
and who helped me out, because that was amazing for me. But yeah, beyond that, really looking forward to.
Because I know I'm looking forward to
Probably
the
I'm
to
looking
the.
forward to the next wave of the Valaverse.
Okay.
What was
All
it,
right.
Wave 5 with Atlas and
Yeah.
Colonel Siege and all that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Sidewinder.
Yeah.
Those figures, man, Devourers to me just keeps getting better. And
My only
and
issue, I don't really like the ninja figure in that wave.
Senchi.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of it.
I don't really care for the Night Ops version, but I don't collect the
Like the
Sidewinder.
variants or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of stick to. I love the desert. For some reason, I love the desert stuff.
That Desert Condor is pretty awesome. I have him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, for the most part, I would say I would pick up about 75% of
Yeah.
Alaverse
Yeah.
that he puts out. I'm not a fan of the snow stuff. It's just not that they're not awesome looking figures. They're just I don't really collect the snow characters.
There's
I don't
yeah.
have a connection to snow. Where I grew up is
Yeah.
all sunshine,
Yeah.
warm weather year round. It's the world of endless summer.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a big connection to snow or
Snow,
snowy
yeah.
stuff. So I just really it doesn't like do it for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't. I'll pass on those. Not that they're not amazing looking figures and stuff. It's just not my thing. And the Night Ops don't really care. I never really cared much for Night Force
Force, yeah. Yeah.
in GI Joe. Well, I think at the height of my GI Joe, I was like in love with Python Patrol and Tiger Force.
Force, yeah, it's really usually the
I
ones
don't
I
know
always
what it
remember.
is about that wild paint schemes on those
Yeah.
vehicles and stuff, but I think whatever it is, it's just the kid me was just like,
Yeah.
man, this is awesome.
But even as a kid,
Um,
I never understood why I needed 4 different Dukes in different shirts. You know, like I know
I
that it
didn't
was
even think
always
about it like that.
yeah,
I just got the figures and like I would have Duke next to Duke, and it wouldn't even, and I would just, I don't know, if something in my mind, I would make it the other one not really Duke.
not Duke. Yeah.
He would be like Fred,
Fred,
you
yeah.
like he would be just like another guy, like another soldier. That's just the way I played with them. I didn't really. Sometimes I didn't assign them their actual who they were. I
Well, they
made them
were,
my
yeah.
own. I just made them
Yeah,
my own characters. Like there were some times where I would play with a certain character, and it wouldn't be the character. It would be me. It would
yeah.
be the
Okay.
representation of me or a
Yeah.
representation of my friends. And so we would all like choose a character that was us.
Awesome.
So we didn't even. So we kind of made our own little movies in our minds and talked it out and played it out and everything.
Hell yeah.
So
That's
it's
awesome,
like
dude.
for me, it's like I never really got tied up into that kind of thought. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to the next wave of Valorverse figures. I'm looking forward to the next 2 Hammond collection dinos. Um, Beyond that, probably really interested in the stuff coming from Loose Collector.
Okay.
Um, and
Okay.
also the Zesray or X-Ray Studios. Like this guy right here, I love him. I love rhinoceroses anyway.
Dude, that I'm so close to
Um,
pulling the trigger on those figures.
I love animal figures, and so
Yeah.
I'm right there with Ninja on this. So
Yeah, that figure's
like,
sick.
um, but this studio, Zesray or X-Ray Studio, I don't know how to pronounce it, but all their figures, they do a lot of gladiator figures. So I have like all the gladiator figures.
Hell yeah.
I love this line. So I know they're coming out with new gladiators and they're doing new females, which were like
Okay.
super popular with people.
Yeah.
Um, and
Does that figure articulate well?
yeah, it's got like even the jaw articulate. Let me pull him back out. Like you can move his
Oh, his
mouth,
mouth and shit. Yeah.
he close his teeth,
Hell yeah, because I was gonna get the
open
big
it up.
the
The
what is
head
it, the bull?
swivels around, moves up and down a little bit. You know, he's got the wrists, he's got the elbows, he's got the bicep, he's got the um,
Fuck you.
I
You
think
make
it's
me
either butterfly. Yeah, so got the butterfly shoulders.
you're gonna make me spend money,
Um,
Mython.
got the double jointed. You know, everything's double jointed. He comes with feet, or which I'm using the feet,
He comes with
but he also
hooves,
comes
right?
with the hooves. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can do the hooves.
That's sick.
Um, yeah, so I like all the animal figures. So anything coming out from that Zesray Studio, I'm all in on. Anything that's available for pre-order through 5K Toys, I've already pre-ordered. Um, Also, if right now Memory Toys is focusing on orcs and World of Warcraft stuff, but if they go back into these,
That looks sick.
I love animal figures. So if they
Yeah.
do more, and even with him, his jaw articulates.
It's yeah.
Um, like same thing with the rhino. He's got really good posability, and so I have the polar bear, and I have the woodland bear, which is brown fur.
Okay.
I think they do a black bear and they did a panda bear. But I was only interested in the traditional brown
Bears.
bear,
Yeah.
the polar bear. My wife calls me a polar bear, so I was like, I had to get the polar bear.
Hell yeah.
Um,
That's awesome,
but
dude.
yeah, anything like that animal wise, like I have every version. There's like three versions of Veteran Williams.
Yeah.
I've
I have.
got both of the ones that are out, and I
So
pre-ordered
lucky.
the third one.
Yeah, so lucky. Dude, I haven't been able to score him because he's just out of my price range, man. Like I want all those animals. I want
Yeah,
the bull figure of that
yeah, yeah.
line. I
I
really
actually
want
that
that one.
just came in. I posted on Instagram last
Oh, that's
week. That
awesome, dude.
showed up.
Hell yeah.
So they had the black one and the brown one,
Yeah, yeah.
and I went with again. I'm not made of money, so I can't buy everything.
I mean, yeah, yeah,
So when I was looking at them, I was like, I gotta choose.
yeah.
So I choose the tan brown one because I think like visually he pops out more.
Okay.
A lot of times, uh, all black figures kind of disappear in
Yeah, yeah,
in the collection. They kind of
yeah,
get drowned out by all the
yeah.
other vibrant colors. And so certain figures it works for really well, but for the bull, I was like, yeah, let me get the tan one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then like I love werewolves. Anything that's like animal. What do they
I
call
got
it?
the
Anthropomorphic or something? Is that what they
I
call
got
it?
yeah, I got the one wolf that's it doesn't have like the clothing like Veteran
Hmm.
William. It's just the werewolf, the white one.
Is that the great wolves of something? I
I
think they
think
called it.
so. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
so.
those look really nice too.
I got one of those pre-ordered.
Yeah. So because I have the Veteran Williams and I got the third one coming out on pre-order where he has like the Gatling chain gun,
Yeah.
like Jesse Ventura from Predator.
Oh yeah.
Um, but then I got another werewolf from Joy Toy, and he's actually 118 scale, but he actually, because of his size, he
Yeah.
works well with the 112, so he can
Oh,
be both.
oh, nice.
And so I got him, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm building out a werewolf
Oh,
dog soldier
that's awesome.
squad. It's
Yeah.
like a squad of dog soldiers, basically. And so I want to have that like a little
Oh yeah.
shelf display. And then I was trying to think of making like a character to be kind of like their handler,
Okay.
like leading them.
Yeah.
Like they're like it's the squad leader, but they won't be a werewolf. They'll just be
Yeah.
like a normal human.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like what playing in my mind
Mine is hell yeah.
for building out that. So that's like something that's in the works. Once that third Veteran William comes in, I'm gonna like build that little squad and make a little
That's
scene.
awesome, dude.
And I thought, I don't know, something about animal figures.
Yeah.
I like the beasts and stuff like that.
I've been
So
very adamant about building an ape army because I love apes.
that's cool. Yeah.
So I'm gonna start getting like the AWOC figures and
Right.
whatever I can get my hands on and
The
building out.
AWOC figures for me, they're awesome, but when I thought about them, because there was some I was thinking about getting, they look a little too cartoony
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
compared to like these guys,
Hmm.
Memory Toys and X-Ray.
Yeah.
These look like hyper realistic and very
Yeah.
violent and bloody.
Yeah.
And when I was like, they don't feel like the AWOC would really mesh well.
Yeah.
So
AWOC
I
is I
was
think they're
like,
trying to pair it with a comic book too, right? I think they're making he made
yeah.
it. It's like
There was one that caught my eye though that was coming from AWOC. I think he looks like a pit bull.
okay.
Have you seen that one?
No.
Yeah, he's coming out like in the next wave or something. I think he looks like a pit bull dog.
Oh wow.
And I was like, oh man, because I love. Okay, I have two pit bulls, and
Yeah, yeah.
I love pit bulls. I think they're the best dog breed in the world. They're demonized because there's people out there that mistreat them and make them mean
Oh
and
yeah.
use them for nefarious purposes. But if you were just to have a plain old pit bull that you brought up as a puppy and
Puppy,
it's
yeah.
just had a nice loving family, they're the most loving loyal dogs.
Oh yeah. I
I
have one.
mean, I I just yeah. So that AWOC, that pit bull AWOC, I was like, wow, that one's
That's pretty sick.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, for real. Jump off that one. What?
Even if he's standing alone,
Yeah.
I might pull the trigger on him.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, Mython, it's been an absolute pleasure to sit down and talk some figures with you. It's almost 2 hours,
Always,
bud.
always.
Uh,
Yeah.
you guys can follow Mython on Instagram, Mython the Python. Like I said, you can check out what he's doing with the 501st Legion and what have you. You'll catch him in all the chat rooms if you go on the live streams. And like I said, guys like Ninja and all these other guys' comments. It's like I said, dude, it was a pleasure to talk to you, man. Thank you so much
And
for
it,
coming on.
and if you like Lego, specifically Star Wars Lego,
Yeah.
check out my Instagram, Bantha Bricks.
Yes, please, Bantha Bricks.
Yeah, Bantha Bricks.
I'll have all the links in the description below so you can check out all his stuff. But this has been Talking Figures. I'm Tony. That is Mython. Until next time, guys, keep playing.